grief and how you deal with it and losing people. Oh, geez, guys, this reminds me of climbing the stairs on January 6th, you know? Let's talk about that for a moment, shall we?
Connor, is One Piece political?
Well... Okay.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming out, man.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
It's been a while.
I'm excited, man.
I needed to put this podcast on a different channel to get Connor to do the One Piece
Hey,
channel.
you told me it was One Piece. I was like, I'm not coming on. I've not read enough. Because I also didn't want you to get hate for having a fake One Piece fan on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I think people surprisingly love the idea that people just give it a try.
Yeah.
Surprisingly generous with that. It gets more critical once you actually get into the
Right. Well, I probably baseline. I should tell you where I got to, where I stopped.
True, yeah. What happened to your big video project?
Well, okay. Okay. Trauma right there. I presume everyone who's watched this, it's okay for me to like kind of say where I'm at.
Yeah,
right? Everyone probably knows. So I was reading it for a video, and the idea was that I really wanted to kind of get my genuine thoughts on One Piece as I was going, because I understood how epic of a story this was and how big of an undertaking this series is to even just consume and be a part of. And so I wanted to record all my reactions, and I'd kept a file, and I'd, you know, obviously PCs change and whatnot, and I thought I had a backup, but I guess I didn't.
Oh, no.
And so I basically lost my first reaction and all my reaction from volume 1 to 17.
No, all the data was gone?
Just gone. And then I thought maybe my editor had a backup. He didn't have it. And obviously I was quite discouraged about making this video now, because I was like, well...
let me do a retake.
I could, you know, and a lot of people were like, why don't you just say how you felt? And I was like, well, I feel like the cool part of it was that this was probably going to take me a couple of years, and being able to watch it
as a progressive,
and watch me change with it, right? Like, because I think a lot of things would change over that time. My worldviews would change, how I feel about the series would change, and how I felt about each part might change in retrospect. And I thought that would be the real strength of it, but I lost it. And, you know, this is absolutely my fault for having bad data management and not securing a backup and making sure I had that. So I ended up getting to and filming on my reaction up until the point where Whitebeard gets literally fucking impaled and stabbed. And that is literally where I stopped.
During the war?
During what a lot of people considered to be like what all of the previous things were building up to was this one moment. And then I decided, like the genius that I am, I'll stop for now. And so I haven't gone back. So mainly because I think there's a little bit of hurt in me, and like reading it again kind of hurts a little bit, because I have to just kind of get over the fact that video's not happening.
I gotta say, as a hardcore One Piece fan, I like it. Obviously, unhappy that you stopped at like the peak, but also as a YouTuber and as someone who like makes videos, I can so hard relate to this.
It's not that I'm done. Like I know I will come back to it. I just need to get over it.
I've definitely been at the point, and I think people who make videos on YouTube know this. Like you've spent so much energy, and there's obviously all like spontaneous moments that you just can't like reenact. There's like fun stuff in there, and seeing all that work, and you're like, okay, now you have to start again. How that can be discouraging, I can absolutely see.
And the sad truth is that I can never read it again for the first time.
Yeah.
And that was what I kind of lost. And so that really hurt as a creative. But, you know, as a fan of the One Piece, I mean, I loved it up until where I got to. Like, I genuinely had so much fun. And maybe I could do something with the footage I still have, or that Mudan still has. Maybe I could do something with it. But, that's where I got to. And a lot of people always say, like, how the fuck did you manage to stop there? How the fuck did you stop?
No, I can actually, again, I can totally see it.
But also as a fan of One Piece, I know I should finish it.
No, I think it's fair enough. Again, it kind of sucks because like sometimes you have stuff like this when you couple something with a project, and that like having a big setback, how it can kind of affect, you know.
And it's a shame because when I was reading Marineford. Is that what you call it?
Marineford.
Sorry, I'm not very good with this lingo.
No, you're good. You're crushing it.
I'm learning the code words. I gotta prove that I actually read it. Like that was, to me, when I was reading it, this would have been the climax of like any other manga. But this in One Piece felt like the entry to like the series finally kind of starting. And that's crazy to say, because that's like 400 fucking chapters into a 1,000 chapter. But that's really when I felt like is I could tell like, oh, this is kind of when it feels like it's getting to kind of its stride.
I think also
and it really is kind of cemented what this is about. And then it's going to get even higher than that. So that's why I was fucking excited. So
I think the fun part about the story that I still like, and which is the reason why it's still easy making content about it, is that it kind of evolves as a genre by itself because it starts obviously very goofy, and I feel like because I obviously when they get into One Piece, like during like slightly after the war, right? So they were already like 500 chapters out of One Piece or something. When you start reading it at the beginning, it's like so goofy, feels like very Dragon Ball-y, right? Whatever.
Yeah,
like
I think that's like a product of the time, though.
It's kind of crazy though how now in retrospect, each new arc that happens at like. Especially like the current one and then the like 2 or 3 ones before them, they just add so many like layers to everything that has happened before. So everything that looked like it was just this like dumb goofy anime thing suddenly has like there's a reason why things are so big and like why this character actually has this stuff and suddenly like there's levels to it.
That was so interesting about getting to this point in the story is that they were finally referencing back stuff that I read in like chapter 2 or chapter 10, and that was crazy to have that confidence as an author. And I think that was obviously probably what. Especially around that point where I think when you get to that story where you start to realize, oh, this is like a really special story. There's not a lot of manga, especially nowadays, because manga, you have to deliver instant gratification, and if you don't, you get cut from Shonen Jump.
I've said this before. One Piece would not have made it in 2025 for sure. If it had started the same way, for sure.
It would be really tough for an author to even attempt something like a One Piece now. Yeah. And you'd have to be an acclaimed, I think, mangaka to even have the backing and the trust. And there's only a handful of manga that I think would have unequivocal backing from the publishers to be able to do something like that.
Well, you kind of need the track record,
Yeah, exactly. And like you need to be at like a status where you're like untouchable almost. Because like it would be fucking psychotic to try and do a 500 chapter payoff and then continually keep doing that and laying those and implanting those seeds. I think it's what makes it really cool. But then I have a couple of questions for you as well.
Yeah, please hit me up.
So you mentioned you jumped in at about 500. When did you start making content about One Piece?
2018.
So what chapter was that around?
So, because I started with the anime, so that was around Dressrosa, which you probably like Punk Hazard Dressrosa, which happens. So Marineford, then there's I think there's a war, there's a bit of a time skip, and then we go into like the second half of One Piece, basically, right? So like 1 or 2 arcs afterwards, basically, yeah.
Okay, so you kind of you started reading at Marineford, and then kind of
and I think I got into it during uni, and then I started making content actually quite a while later, so probably 4 years after I got into One Piece, because I got into anime quite late in my life in general. I remember we went on it was like 3 years ago when we did the van trip, right?
Oh yeah.
And like you and Gon were like catching me up on all the anime drama that happened on YouTube, and
there's a lot of anime YouTube drama.
I was like unfamiliar with all of it because I just started watching fairly late.
I mean, that was really fun because that was I say fun. That was really fun because it was so trivial and like nothing in you know what I mean? It's like when,
compared to now.
Well, yeah, like nowadays it's so different, which I'm sure maybe we'll get into later. Back then it was so. It was so stupid, and it was so nothing, and it'd be like, this guy said this one anime was mid, and I don't fucking like this guy anymore. And then that would cause fights, and they would make videos. It's back when you'd make a video about anyone for fucking anything, any reason. But the audience's size have gotten so big now where doing something like that is actually quite a horrific thing to do to someone. But anyway, so we'll get into that later more. I want to ask you then, so you got into it, what made you want to then make videos about One Piece? And because did you start specifically with One Piece, or was it anime?
Yeah, it was like a combination of things. So I think it was mostly actually me being in Japan for the first time in 2018. I came here for like an internship for half a year. That was like early in my master's. And I fell in love with Japan pretty quickly here. I like found like a really good group of friends, and even though like my internship, I immediately it was fantastic. I had a great boss who allowed me to like do stuff what I want, super chill, was interesting. I immediately knew I didn't want to work in an office. Nonetheless, I was like,
understandable.
It's not a great sign if you have the perfect environment and you still feel like I don't belong in here.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different beast.
But yeah, I don't know. I was watching because I was just taking my bike biking through like Tokyo and Shinjuku to my because it was the internship was right across from the Metropolitan building, like the big park in front of that, where there's with a hiatus and stuff. So it was like a kind of a nice vibe, just like I was listening to YouTube videos and just biking there to work, and kind of fell in love with YouTube in general at that point. Like I was watching videos before, but never as intently, I think.
I mean, did you make like a conscious choice? You're like, I want to make YouTube successful, or was it just kind of
no? I wanted to try it. I thought it was really fun, and I was like, okay, well, I came back to Germany like in September or something, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I really wanted to try this YouTube thing. It sounded fun. It was also kind of like something that, like, I was a bit sad that I needed to leave Japan. So that was like kind of like a way for me to kind of stay connected to that new side of me a little bit. And I was like, okay, what can I talk about? Because obviously when you start YouTube, you're not super like, I'm going to put my face out there and sit down and chill and have a good time, right?
Who would do that?
Like, so I was like, okay, I don't want to show my face. What can I talk about? And I think like the big things for me at the point that I was really into was like sports, photography, and then like One Piece, right? And I was like, One Piece seems like the most realistic one to actually just do voiceover content and have a good time with, right?
And that's how it kind of took off.
Yeah, I think the first video I ever uploaded was a review about chapter 1 of One Piece, recorded with a terrible like $8 microphone. It's still up. I lifted it up, dude. It's go back and it's insane.
So
it
okay.
sounds like kind of like.
Did you? So when you started out, because do your viewers like know that you? Like at that time, did they know that you lived in Japan and this was a big part of your life, or was it like?
Well, when I started, I was still living in Germany, right? Because I was still finishing. Yeah, so I think it was kind of a bit of a weird time because I came back, was only there for like a couple of months. Then actually I went to Norway to study abroad there, and that's when I kind of like actually I was getting some traction like the 4th or 5th video, and I was
nice.
Like usually I was supposed to be in class, but I was actually just like
dude, when you get that first hit, you drop everything to make another.
A core memory for my YouTube career is my first video that hit 100K was like a Zoro bit like character analysis.
Fucking milestone.
And I was like hiking in the Lofoten Islands in Norway. Like it was like the most beautiful place, and I was fucking refreshing my YouTube app.
I remember doing that.
I was like, this is insane. Yeah.
That was one of the most happy moments of my life. I'm sure it was for you.
Oh yeah, insane.
Because it's the first time you know, because a lot of people get to make things and be creative, but it's it's such a weird and fortunate thing that you almost get like a direct access to a reaction of something creative.
Yeah.
And to see people engage with it is like really rewarding, I think.
I mean, I've grown to kind of and I think I don't even need to ask you. I know you have probably the same thing. I know you've kind of transcended that maybe a little bit, but this love-hate relationship with the analytics side of YouTube.
Yeah, man. I'll transcend. I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, you try to get as, you kind of just have to change your way that you view it.
It's very fun, I think, and this is maybe relatable to anyone who wants to start something new, especially YouTube. It is very much fun as long as there is no pressure behind it, and you're just like, this is something I'm doing because I love it, and like I'm still studying, or I still have another job, right? And this is just, if it works, and it's fun, and then it's kind of like a video game almost, which YouTube wants you to feel like it's like gamification. Once it's like your livelihood, and you're kind of like suddenly the data side of it is at least I think there's a strong risk that you can let it get something that gets to you. If that makes sense. Yeah.
So when you started, was the 1 out of 10 system there?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, it was. It was right. I think 2018 was right when they were. I think like half a year later they shifted to the new studio. So the old studio was still around. Okay. Yeah,
YouTube basically does this thing. I'm sure all of you know, because YouTube just want to shut the fuck up about it. Is that YouTube ranks your videos against each other, so you can see in a ranking of top 10 of how your video did. But I remember back in the day that I used to have a number, like an amount of views that I expected it to hit in like an hour, roughly. I'd be like, okay, if it's around this, I think we're good. And that was just, but that was almost nicer because I didn't.
Oh, so much nicer, yeah. And I think it didn't actually, even when they switched the studio, I don't think they originally had the 1 out of 10.
I didn't have it initially.
Yeah. So it kind of showed you I think it showed you like the general performance, like how many views and stuff. And you would kind of compare it. I mean, the 1 out of 10 system, I will say, for creators specifically, obviously you can talk about social media in general, what it's done to like public mental health, but for creators specifically, I think ranking your own performance to you when you're maybe doing this for like years and years, and you always you can have done YouTube for 10 years and you still open up and see a 10 out of 10, and it's designed to make you feel shit about yourself.
I mean, it's kind of like if you, you know, you were just kind of like baking croissants or something. And then every single time you baked one,
ranking.
they would be like, this is the 80th best croissant you've made today. And you'd be like, okay, but at least croissants
dude ranking it, yeah.
It's just like, man, what the fuck? Why do I need to rank this? Like, but then I guess they want to give you information on how.
Well, they want to make, Well,
they want you to do better. That's because they want more money.
They're like, we want you to get addicted to the fucking confetti.
I think for me, at least, it pushed me away from that. It kind of made me very apathetic towards it.
I mean, for me, and I'm like happy to talk about this, I got away from checking my analytics daily.
Yeah.
Way too late in my YouTube career. It was this year for me. I think I did get rid of the YouTube analytics app very early on because that shit was toxic as fuck. But for me, like I stopped looking at my, like I do it by monthly now, mid of the month, end of the month, just looking at the big picture. Because otherwise I realized I was actually like waking up with anxiety sometimes just because of my analytics.
Dude, I mean, after dropping a video.
And you're just waking up the next morning and you're like, fuck, if it's going to be a 9, like, it's going to be a drag.
I do check after I upload a video in the morning just to kind of gauge, you know, if people fuck with the concept or maybe why it didn't do well. I mainly just check if there's something I'm really excited about, like I'm really pumped about, like, and it's normally on my like VOD channel, which is such a like nothing. Because if I play like Metal Gear,
that's been kind of crushing it though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, it's kind of all over the place, but
it's more of your main channel at this point. I feel. Than your main channel
what is the main channel anymore? It's the, you know, but I just like playing games, and I'm addicted to that. But one thing I wanted to ask you as well, but circling back to the other topic, obviously, you know, living in Japan is such a big part of your life, obviously, and being here. You don't really incorporate the fact that you speak Japanese much into your, because you're so, dude, he's so fucking good at Japanese. His Japanese is insane. He's Jozu as fuck.
Fuck me.
So I feel like I know, but it's like, I feel like you're making these videos and, you know, I feel like it sucks that you're not able to incorporate it more.
I don't know. It's kind of this weird limbo situation. I don't mind talking about it on the podcast, but obviously with anime content, there's always this like slight dark shadow of Japanese IP law hanging over you like a cloud. Oh, God. I think when I came here, like actually moved back here during COVID, like in 2020, I would have loved to incorporate the idea more. And I tried to at the beginning, but at the same time, I always feel like you're kind of like playing like live and let live with Japan a little bit. I haven't been using anime clips forever, like 2 or 3 years now. You know, I think I'm one of the only One Piece creators who covers when the official comes on Sunday. Yeah. Which, by the way, fun thing. One of my team members sent me a clip of Ludwig ranting about getting spoiled about One Piece stuff, and he was like a fucking Ohara video. I'm like, dude, I'm not. You wait. I'll wait.
I'm getting hit with a fucking Ohara thumbnail that's talking about fucking Roxy Zabek, and I'm fucking spoiled. JJ.
But yeah, it's
I'll
kind
tell
of.
him off. I'll tell him off. I'll be like, don't be mean to Manu. He's a nice boy.
No, I'm just chilling.
I'm not chilling. I'm going to tell him off. I'm joking.
No, but I don't know. I think that kind of like led to me being like, it's not super relevant, I guess, that I'm here, and I'd rather keep it kind of low key almost. But there's a lot of, because I do theory content occasionally. And there's a lot like a lot of Japanese authors do this, but Oda specifically, he like hides so many meanings in like, and even like how he translates stuff.
Yeah, you have such an understanding of Japanese culture as well. So I feel like you can offer a lot of context.
Language-wise, I let it flow in quite a lot. I think, again, the fact that I live here
doesn't really have an effect on the content. Well, same for me, to be honest, except for like the main channel stuff. But my gaming streams, you know, it doesn't fucking, you know, half these games I play are not from Japan or have any connection to Japan. But there is also some, you know, considerations that you have to take when you live in Japan. Being, you know, if I was in America, you can just say whatever the fuck you want. It's like, hey, it's different when you have a visa and you have to, you know, rely on these things. And I think a lot of people don't really take that into consideration when, you know, you're talking about stuff online. And that can be quite difficult and also kind of very tricky to explain.
It really is, yeah. If you live in the only country that also doesn't have like fair use. Yeah, it's...
Yeah, like one example I can give to people is that Elden Ring, when it came out, you know, streamers are allowed to play Elden Ring. You know, whatever, you can do it. If you're a streamer who was a Japanese-speaking creator in Japan, there was an expectation that you were told from Soft that were like, you cannot have subs or donations on. Only to Japanese creators, which is like, really odd to
Is
draw
it
the
Japanese
line.
creators or creators in Japan? So they did like included you.
Well, so yeah, I don't know.
By the
So,
way, I'll let you continue your story, but
oh, you have sake?
I have sake.
Oh, wonderful.
Since this is the podcast,
Sure.
drink sake.
So yeah, it's, you know,
Your cup there.
oh sure. Yeah, there's always like some weird rules with Japan. Oh wow, I didn't know there was any in there. It looks so light. Oh wow, I'm not a big sake guy. I'll be honest with you. But cheers, cheers.
Thanks for coming. It's not bad though. This one.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, sake tastes a lot better on the fifth glass normally for me.
After the beer. Sorry. Yes, Elden Ring.
Yeah, so there's just like different considerations that I think a lot of the time I don't fucking talk about. I'm sure you don't talk about because it's just really boring and also kind of murky. And sometimes, you know, the sad truth is that sometimes if you talk about it, you kind of put a target on your back. And I'm also like not in the business of rocking the boat, you know. And I think it's really hard to explain that sometimes to people and kind of really elaborate on that. So like, if I'm the guy who's like, hey, I'm going to be the first guy who gets in shit.
Exactly. That's you don't want to complain. I think that's also like I would love for this podcast. I think it would be super fun to reach out to like voice actors and producers and like, oh, maybe there's someone you can talk about who like even produces One Piece or whatever, right? But then you're like, do we want to poke the bear? Does that make sense, right? As you say, you don't want like, okay, it's working right now. I've already like reduced, like I'm trying to be as clean as I can possibly be without just, you know, putting nothing on screen.
There are no rules in Japan of what you can and can't do, really. Because there's never often there is not an explicitly like a rule set saying you can use this, you can't use this. To a lot of Japanese companies, the way they see it is that like any fucking use of IP in any capacity is not allowed. Exactly. But there is this understanding that there is obviously value to allowing people to talk about it. So there's constantly this thing of like I can talk about it, I can show things, but I can never piss them off.
Exactly. There's always the big button that they can push if they ever wanted
which,
to.
Which, you know, if I lived in the UK, I wouldn't have to worry about this. And a lot of people would be like, why would you then move to Japan and do this? It's like, well, I love living in Japan. And
exactly.
I'm also kind of okay working around that and being respectful. The Japanese creators do it as well. And I don't think I deserve any special treatment outside of that. It's like, hey, I'll play ball. I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes.
I mean, in a way, it's kind of... you can always take some positives out of it. I think for me, stopping, like, you know, kind of being like, okay, I don't want to use any anime material anymore. Yeah. So, like, I started working with artists that make, like, some custom artwork.
I mean, that's
and stuff like that.
It's
and
fun.
it kind of gives personality. To be creative with it.
Limitations, man.
But yeah, I mean, I think for the Japan part itself, I think I was just not really creative enough, maybe. I mean, if you have ideas, I'm more than happy. But I was like, does it make is it a fun gag if I record a video in front of Skytree or something? Like, maybe. Like, but does it really change the topic?
It doesn't really add too much. But I guess you have at least a deep cultural understanding of Japan.
I think people who have been watching like my content for a long time, they do know. Like, it's not a secret or anything. But again, I just kind of...
His Japanese is amazing. I'm going to glaze him. His Japanese is so good. I'm always so impressed.
Your Japanese is really good too. What are you talking about?
Mine's good for salaryman conversations.
You're doing good.
I honestly, I mean, I should study more, but I've always thought about perhaps taking some time off to go and actually study it. But then
I think
YouTube is such a fucking unforgiving job with taking breaks.
Honestly, I think for me, the secret was really, I've just been doing like 20, 30 minutes every day for the last 7 years.
And I know that I should do that.
Yeah. It's the little stuff. It's the gym mentality.
I know I should. And I have no one else to blame. It's my own fault. And I feel like I should be better.
But I also feel like for me, Japanese, I'm like in general a very competitive person. Which sometimes is very good. I think for YouTube, you need a certain level of competitiveness. I think for my language learning, it's also been good, but there have been... Like for me, I'm like, I start a new hobby and I immediately need to try and become very good at it, which maybe is a little bit toxic.
No, I think so. I think that's how you approach life, man. If that's fulfilling to you, I think you go for it.
I guess so.
I know you're like... you a sweaty nerd. No, I'm kidding. I'm the same.
I was about to say, I know you're very competitive
I think most YouTube creators, there has to be a competitive aspect of it for you to have some success in it. You have to care about
either that or you are like insanely entertaining.
Or man, you're like Pete, and Pete is like a genuine, just such a talented, a very naturally funny person who is amazing at what he does. And like watching Pete, you know, I see what he does, and I try to take so much inspiration from him.
That's so
Pete
cool.
Premier 2, if you don't know. He's always, and I always love collaborating with Pete and talking with Pete because he's just so insightful, but just genuinely a natural talent with entertaining. And something that I strive to get 1/10 as funny as.
I'm insanely jealous of... Because I would consider myself to be more of an extroverted person, but I think compared to you and Pete, like I would never go somewhere and just...
Bro, Pete's another level. Dude, I try to match Pete. I thought I was extroverted until I
feel
met
like you also get like a lot of energy though from like talking to people and doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I love talking to new people. It's always fun, especially in Japan. I love chatting, because people are so open to sharing their experiences.
Do you feel like that's a key for you for like being successful on Twitch too? Because I mean, I did try streaming for like 2 or 3 months and it was really fun, but it is also quite like draining. I feel like actually being entertaining for 2 or 3 hours live.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I look at my streams, I'm like, man, I was so fucking boring that stream. Or there's moments where I didn't talk for like 5 seconds, and I'm like, God, what a fucking asshole. But then I also think it's a strength, or you should know as a streamer when to shut the fuck up and either let someone else talk. Or whatever if you're playing a game, let that do the talking or whatever. I think you're still so really important. I don't know. It's always so hard, and I always change my mindset on all this stuff quite often.
It was quite interesting for me also because when we met in, what was it, like 2021, early 2021, late 2021 or something?
Yeah, and
so like 4 years ago.
Anything I told you then, I might just completely be full of shit, and I might have changed how I feel about it.
I think it was more really fascinating because I think I joined right around the time when you started testing out streaming, and I was so I think our entire relationship was kind of like you also transitioning more into the streaming mode from YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, there's good things and there's bad things about it. Streaming compared to YouTube, I felt like the streaming atmosphere, everyone is so much less professional than in YouTube. YouTubers, in my experience, like nowadays, are generally like quite professional. I feel like they often have to work with other people, so they work with editors, they have to work with sometimes artists, they have to work with brands to sponsorships and stuff. I found that they were generally a lot more professional. So I always had a lot easier a time working with YouTubers. And then working with Twitch streamers, I realized I had to really change how I did it. And I really enjoyed the collaboration aspect of streaming.
But it's a little more casual? Yeah,
it's a lot more casual. It's a lot more, hey, if I can come hang out with me for an hour and play some games. But now I find myself collaborating less.
Interesting. Do you feel if you... Like, let's say your entire channel, like your entire, internet history is scrapped, but you still have all your knowledge and everything. Yeah. Would you say YouTube or Twitch right now is the better, like, platform to grow? Yeah, just build an audience. Because my impression is that while YouTube kind of pushes smaller channels, but also at the same time, I feel like something like Charlie probably could not happen that easily anymore. I
don't think a Charlie could happen now.
So maybe like a Twitch is, I don't know. What's your feeling?
I mean, I think YouTube, if you have the skill, is more reliable as a like input output. Like if you are a very methodical creator and you intently make very good things and you understand the algorithm a bit, like if I have all this knowledge of doing it now, I think I would probably go to YouTube. I think streaming is really tough and you have to be really creative in how you grow and what you rely on. Or you have to be quite sensational, which often means being can I say cunt?
Yeah, you can say it. Please.
Being a bit of a cunt.
I'm not American, so you can say
it. And I, don't really enjoy that. And I have like a mentality of how I think it should be done. And I don't think a lot of the new creators see it the same way. I think there's a lot more of a break shit, apologize afterwards, which I don't really think is the right way of going about it. But then I also think that I think that way because I've been in Japan for a while. And you kind of have to be a lot more considerate of everyone else around you in general, especially with streaming. Like in America, I love the fact that I can just fucking rock up anywhere with a camera and no one cares. But at the same time, I also think it's quite dystopian that no one cares, that I'm kind of rocked up. And, I still in America, I always try to, whenever I go anywhere, I try to get the permission of the place I'm trying to film at. But in Japan, you have to get permission wherever you go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the difference, which I don't think a lot of people like doing, especially streamers don't like doing. But if streamers ever come here and ask me for my help, I'm like, I will not help you unless you promise me you're going to abide by the rules that we lay out. Like you have to get permission where you film, and you need to promise that you'll show up on time. You cannot fuck these people over. If they tell you to do something, you have to listen. Whenever I've worked with creators or recommended them, to go and stream stuff or whatever, very, very open with like, hey, you can't fuck me on this because like I live here. These people trust me. you like because streamers love showing up late, like, and 30 minutes late is like unacceptable. Like you cannot do that. So yeah, I try to at least tell the creators, hey. So that's a very, but that's, I mean, it's fun, and I like people. You know, I don't mind creators coming because, you know, some people they're like, oh my god, streamers are in Japan. I think it's a good thing that streamers get to come here and film stuff as long as they follow the rules and be respectful. Because I mean, at the end of the day, they're, you know, helping these businesses, and these businesses want to be shown on camera, and you know they're interacting, and I think it helps kind of break down the barriers sometimes of communication.
And I feel like also it's not as important for me as a YouTuber who films in their studio, but I feel like for someone like you who interacts a lot with the world, obviously, if you know certain companies or
I'm fucking weak as shit.
Oh yeah. Like if they have a bad experience with some foreign creator, they will just say no, never again, right? So it kind of burns bridges for you potentially as well.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, a lot of these businesses are very hesitant too, and it often takes a lot of convincing for even me to do it. And I'm like, hey, I've got a track record of all these things, and a lot of them will just say no, and a lot of people will be like, based, and that's fair enough. I mean, every company has the right to say no. I don't really care. I'm never offended, but sometimes a company will or a business will say, yeah, we're just kind of not a fan of live streamers, and I can't blame them. I mean, like, fucking hell, if I saw Kick, I'd be like, yeah, fuck this, because most of these IRL streamers are kind of like this, and it's like they're not doing it in a good way.
Yeah, it's very intrusive, I guess. I mean, if you go to Shinjuku or somewhere at night and it's just people like pushing through with like their cameras and stuff.
Yeah. It's why even when I go into a bar, it's like I try my best to, you know, obviously we ask if it's okay to stream, but even then when we get in, and even if they say yes, it's like I still want to at least try and get the camera just on me and my friends and not on other customers, because you know, it's like if I have like 4 beers deep, I don't want to be on someone's stream in the background. I get it, like I don't want that either. So I try,
especially since Japan has kind of like a policy already of you know, like trying not to be seen when you're like out and whatnot.
You know, but I think there's also a benefit. It's like, hey, we can really show these cool aspects of Japanese culture. People are really friendly, and people don't want to be on camera. But if you make an atmosphere where you're chatting with people and you can have a good time, sometimes people don't mind being on camera. They'll be like, oh, this guy's chill. You can tell he's being respectful. Fuck it. Hey, what's up, chat?
I think our buddy Rob does a really good job.
Yeah, Rob does a really good job.
Yeah, he's like very positive. He like makes people feel very comfortable also with the camera on.
Yeah, and Rob's made so many friends with so many like local businesses, and like they love seeing Rob, and Rob's really respectful, and Rob is like the perfect example of like how to do it. Yeah, he is great. And there's a lot of people who do it right, but I think you often only see people who do it badly. And they're often people who don't live here. They don't fucking care. They just want to treat it like a theme park, and they want to treat it like some kind of, you know, just a place where they can just kind of, and they love farming the clips because they know people will share them. Because, you know, it's a shame. It is a shame because, you know, if you did,
and it works. If you have your
in the UK or Germany, I don't think anyone would give a fuck. Like no one would post the clips. Certainly, I mean, you know, they would just get beaten up.
You mean the classic Johnny Somali?
Yeah, man, it's fucking awful. I mean, it's
the rage bait.
Yeah, and that did irreparable damage because, you know, Japan absolutely loves as well when they get ammunition as well to kind of talk about this on the news. And you'll see it was on so many news cycles about being like these nuisance meiwaku
gaijin.
Meiwaku streamers. You know, they were all the rage, and they love having ammunition. So the moment they get to talk about it, they love it as well. So it's like, fuck, like. And then they'll play a program next where it'll be like, foreigner tries Japanese food, and that'll be the next 3 hours of TV. And you're like, all right, okay, buddy.
I mean, it's always this kind of love-hate relationship. And I think Japan is not the only country that does this. I think a lot of countries have like I mean, I go to, as you know, I have like some family in Spain, and I go like at least once a year usually. Spain, and Spain has a really strong love-hate relationship with tourists, especially like Mallorca or Ibiza. When you go there, like on the one hand, they have like big protests and like we want to limit tourism, but then also like they like big cruise ships coming in every day and like farming. So like, which one is it?
You can't have the money and also be like, fuck
it's like we like the money, but if you can stay home, that'd be perfect.
It's weird.
I kind of wanted to ask because with Twitch, like at least on YouTube, and you probably know about this, that it has, as you say, it has become. I mean, I've not been doing content as long as you, and you know, some of the other guys have done it, but it's been 7 years now already, and YouTube has evolved crazy. When I moved into the space, especially anime YouTube, I think a reason why I even could establish a channel was because back then it was mostly just people sitting at home with like a bad camera and a mic and just chatting, and I was like, oh, how about some color grading and some lights and, you know, like a good mic. So it was very easy to innovate quality, while nowadays you can't even play the game if you don't have a certain level almost of quality almost.
But also, I think consumer tech has gotten so good where
Oh, that also. You can film on your phone. Yeah, and it
the
sounds good.
iPhone is kind of good enough now. And it's, we have these really expensive cameras.
Yeah.
And they obviously look amazing. And you can do a lot more. Yeah, they overheat. Things overheat. The iPhone doesn't fucking overheat. You can do these things with them. That you can add the color grading and get a bit more personalized with it, and I think there's a lot of strength to it. But the iPhone for most consumers really is indistinguishable from this.
It looks fantastic.
If we had 3 iPhones here, it would look great.
Yeah,
and that is, I think, it's kind of leveling the playing field, which I also think is good in general, because I think it kind of means that it's now up to you to kind of.
Is it though? Because and I'm very curious. I'm happy to if we have different opinions here. I do feel I do agree with you that per se tech has made it a lot easier to do certain things that, if you had filmed on your phone 8 years ago, it would have looked shit. But at the same time, I do feel you do need to know about graphic design, how to do thumbnails, how to structure a video.
That's still really
all
tough.
That stuff.
Like that's stuff you can't. There's no cheat code for that.
And I feel like you have a whole group of people who just start channels on a professional basis because. And I'm not necessarily saying it's a problem, but
there's a lot of private equity in YouTube.
Yeah,
so there's a lot
investing
of
into creators and whatnot,
investing into teams. So it is very hard to compete. But the things that cameras and microphones that used to be a barrier of money no longer feel like a barrier, at least.
That is good. That's true.
And graphic design, all these things. These are at least they are skills you can learn.
Yeah.
And these things you have to put effort into, and you can make a thumbnail for free. Which is what I always used to do, right? And eventually I started paying artists because, it was a luxury that I was afforded. But all the skills you could learn, and I kind of loved that. I loved that it was always a skill day.
Oh.
It was always there is nothing stopping me as an engineering degree competing with the guy who has a film degree. I just had to learn. I just had to put in the hours. Maybe I'd get the camera and I would sit there and I would go through the settings and I would, tweak and try to learn what the fuck the color grading is. And you're like, what the fuck is a 4000K? I don't know. What is an f.2.8?
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this, but it's fun that it was always accessible that I could learn that. The only thing is that I just think that YouTube, iPhones and all this stuff have made it easier for people to kind of get into the baseline.
Yeah, with easy, the
but
lower
still,
barriers.
The hardest part is a thumbnail, and that's fucking still. That's hard.
I will also say, I feel for me at least, the part of YouTube that to this day is actually the most fun is that it always encourages you to learn a variety of skills. And you usually, I think most creators, unless you're like actually just filming yourself and like nothing else and you're just talking and commentary, but most creators like start outsourcing certain aspects, whether it's editing or, you know, thumbnail creation or writing or whatnot. But there is always a point in your career, usually, unless you go in with like big equity or something, where you just have to do everything yourself and you're forced to learn about writing. How can I be funny? How can I be more expressive? How do I frame myself on camera? As you say, like,
yeah. And you will always be able to do a better job if you genuinely care than any person you're paying money for. Like, you know, Chris's videos look amazing because he spent a lot of time learning about cinematography and he's put a lot of work into that. And I think that shows, and a lot of people would praise him for it. But that was something that he just learned on his own. He never did
film school or anything.
You know, and that is like, he's put in the time to watch those, you know, breakdown videos where they explain cinematography and kind of putting a lot more thought into it. Whereas I still don't. Like, I don't think about cinematography, and maybe I should. And I know that if I did put the effort in, it would probably translate better. And
I mean, you never know. Like, sometimes it's also these, you know, like you spend so much time and you're like, oh, I had phases where I was filming my stuff in log 3 and color grading my footage, and in the end, no one cares if I put Luffy on the on the fan next to me.
Well, I mean, that was the goal, because both the Trash Taste sets, I've set those up, and the goal was to just make it look like a good studio and never really anything kind of crazy or beyond that. Never wanted any kind of crazy color grading. It was like, how can we get it to a point where it's one button, turn on and go?
Sorry, that looks really good.
And, you know, that was something that I had always, you know, even though I don't feel like I'm nearly as good as Chris, that was still something that, like, at least among the three of us, I was always the more technically inclined and tried and was trying to set up. And I would always talk to the cameramen we knew, and I would always try to pick their brain of like, well, so why would you do this? Like, and just try to pick up as many useful things as I could.
And it's fun because even if you don't do the thing yourself, at least understanding like having a basic grasp of things, it's a lot easier to direct people. So like, hey, like I don't really know how to do this myself, but I know, can't we play around with this and that and do that? Like I spent the last 5 days very randomly because I wanted to like do something with like a specific thumbnail. I learned about compositing for the first time in my life. Damn. Which was really fun. A really fun deep dive into, like, and in case you don't know, like compositing is how to layer different images in Photoshop or After Effects, and that's how anime is also made, or like CG and like movies, right? Like how do you merge all these elements into something that looks like it all belongs in one shot?
But then your thumbnails will look better, or your graphics
a little bit,
will look better,
but it's also just fun, right?
It takes a lot of time to get that, but those slight improvements always help. And then when you're using those skills, you're always improving on them too. I mean, I kind of stopped learning how to shoot things a little while. I haven't really improved much, but I did kind of spend so much time into live broadcasting tech, and that has been something that I put a lot of time into doing that. So like that's been something really rewarding, because a lot of the times this tech is really finicky and really tough to use, but it's been a really rewarding thing for me to learn and kind of be able to problem solve, because when shit goes wrong live, everyone gets a lot more stressed out than when it's on a video shoot. It becomes a lot more of it becomes a time issue. So being able to kind of know how to fix that reliably, or know when to be like, this is, I can't fucking do this. Let's hand it off to some other wizard. Because sometimes there is just problems that are like, this is not solvable. We have to call it a day. Yeah. And that sucks too, but
it happens. I think you learn from it.
This is all to say, I think to the viewer, I think everything is learnable.
Exactly.
Everything is about how much time you want to put into doing it. I know a lot of YouTubers and streamers who are completely fucking tech illiterate, and they don't know how to use their OBS but in their streaming. And it's like, dude, learning the shit saves you so much time. And all of it is for free on YouTube.
Exactly.
There's so many good
infinite tutorials.
Everything on YouTube.
So good.
It's why I've always been a really big believer in like sharing information.
Yeah.
I know a lot of YouTubers who, the one thing that comes to mind is I know there's one guy who learned how to do something on live streaming, and I won't say what it was or what he was, but I thought he was such a fucking dickhead, because he refused to tell me how
share
he did
his secret.
Yeah, he refused it. I was talking to him. I was like, hey man, I saw this really cool thing on your stream. How did you do it? He refused to tell me, and I'm like, this is so bullshit, because you learned all your information, I guarantee, from YouTube
as well,
or someone else who learned it because of the fact that all this information is free, and I bet he's using open source software. All of this shit is built on the fact that we share information.
Exactly.
You are such a prat if you feel like you gained a minimal advantage on another creator and you won't share how you did it, because that's petty. Because someone's going to overtake you, and then you'll feel like a dick.
Well, and then no one is going to share with you also,
fuck
right?
No, I don't want to share with that guy. If that guy ever asked me how to do something, like, go fuck yourself, man. Because we are so much of YouTube and all of this stuff is predicated on given information that someone has willingly shared, or they've given an open software.
And I also feel like on top of that, it's very, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I know almost no niches, on YouTube or Twitch or something where if you help someone else out and they do better, it's gonna hurt you. Yeah. Like that never happens. You can rise together, and in the end, if someone has a good idea, quite literally.
You can't be offended if someone takes what you've maybe learned.
Because everything that you learned is like taking little things. There's like a cool book that's called The Art of War. No, the war of art. Sorry,
the war. My goat.
I was like, it's like it was like 50-50. The war of art.
Read The Art of War.
I'm like, that's a very cool word. Actually, you can apply this to YouTube.
No, you said a lot of great one-liners, dude.
The war of art. It's like a very small, but it's basically like the concept is steal like an artist, right? You take inspiration and mix things together into your own thing, and like evolve it yourself, and that's how everyone almost on YouTube does their thing.
So transparent with how I do everything, because I feel like I was so fortunate that I lived at a time where the information was democratized, and I was able to learn and succeed because some guy, even with my degree, there was one guy in India who gave an engineering degree, and he explained it so much fucking better than any of my teachers did. Khan Academy, shout out. That guy was the fucking
oh my god, Khan Academy, bro.
That guy got me through my degree. Like without him, I wouldn't do it.
That is, I watched him too.
We are so fortunate, and so I got so unfathomably angry, and I called. Oh man, I said some harsh words to this guy, and I was very, very upset about it. And
it's not that rare though,
wouldn't tell me. And I was like, you are a coward. And when when people surpass you, I won't feel sorry for you, because this is the kind of behavior.
Did it happen?
Yeah. This guy always asked me for a collab too, and I was like, "Fuck no, man! I feel like you're such a it's
kind of a shame too,
because to do.
But it's like even if you wanted to be like super egoistical about it, and just like even then, it's just the right thing to do, because helping people out, like. Next to it just being the right thing to do, because but it's also going to come back and people are going to help you out in return.
Yeah. Also, sometimes if I tell you how I did something, you might then go and really like learn how I did it, and also then improve on it massively
and share it back to you.
Like, hey, by the way, did you know?
Yeah.
Like Paul, who's been my cameraman for and is Chris's cameraman as well. He's a fantastic film, a great guy, absolute top lad. He got really into doing the live stream tech, and he's a really good streamer. And he has improved a lot of the live stream tech that we've used, because he, wanted to learn how to do it. And I'd be like, hey, here's how I do it. And then he would just be like, this is shit, we can improve this. And since then, that means that my streams now get a lot better too, because he's so willing to share that information.
Yeah.
And I think, basically, if you are a creator and you learn something, you should share it, especially if someone asks you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like if you figure something out, you have to go, look what I've done. But like we are so fortunate that we've been able to learn from others.
I agree.
You should be willing to share it, and that's what makes society.
Society, man, society. You're right. And I think the other thing is also, if maybe like whoever's watching this is interested in starting content themselves, I think it can look like maybe watching your stream or something, or watching a video can look very overwhelming. But in the end, all of us just started off with like the basics and then added on top. And that's just, it looks like, and the same for Japanese, by the way. Just like stacking little things on top.
Yeah, you do stack little things.
Yeah.
You do stack.
Then that's how you get there. It just accumulates over time. Sick. All right. Well, let's move a little bit to One Piece now.
Let's move to One Piece.
Because even though you stopped reading, you have been fairly One Piece adjacent recently. Before we get to that, you also texted me. You went to the Dodgers game, right?
I did go to the. I got the Dodgers One Piece card.
The One Piece card.
I thought about bringing it, but I didn't want to put salt in the wound.
No, you good.
I got a PSA 10 on that.
10.
PSA 10.
God damn it, dude! These things, I
think it's. I'm never gonna sell it. I'm gonna hand it out to my kid. I'll be like, you
have it.
You must keep this in the family.
Did you look up how much it's worth now? I'm actually curious. I knew it's sold for like 3,000, 4,000.
I think it's about 3 or 4K. Yeah. And I presumably it'll only go up as time goes on.
I sent one of my team members who lives in LA to the game. And that was the only reason I knew you were going, because I'm not a big baseball guy, but he sent me like you being on the Jumbotron.
On the Jumbotron.
He was like, Connor's here. I was like, and he also got one of the cards. And apparently there were like people at the exit, like giving people like $100.
I knew because I went to the Hello Kitty night as well.
Oh, okay.
And Ludwig, because of course he turned up late. We didn't get the Hello Kitty. And I was so mortified, because this Hello Kitty thing was so fucking cute.
Oh, God.
And I also thought I could maybe gift it to someone in Japan, or I could just have it. I have it on my set right now, and I really love the thing.
Did you get one?
I couldn't get one because we turned up late. But Ludwig, in his infinite flexing, he knew a guy, and he was like, hey, can I get one for my friend? And he got me one in the end. But I knew that he would have turned up late. So I was like, I'm getting early, because I know I want the One Piece stuff. And I got a hat like this. There was One Piece. By the way, I lost it.
Oh, God.
I think I left it in my hotel room. So bad.
They're going to be so confused.
But the card, I got the card. Anyway, we'll talk more about the other One Piece stuff too. And I'll just make it really quickly brief. Is that as I was going in, there was literally a guy, because you go in after you scan your ticket, and then there's a massive box, and they just give you a hat and they give you a card. There's immediately a guy after that who's a scalper who had $100 bills,
and just who
was like $100 for the card. And then take the card, $100 for the card, take it, and was taking all of them. And there was other guys going around as well the whole time. And it was honestly kind of annoying, because you're just kind of being harassed by these scalpers who were walking around going, $50 for the card or $10 for the card. And so some old people were selling this card for $10. And it's like, dude, you could easily get $100, $200.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was guys who
in Japan, it must be like I bet you get the double in Japan for like Dodgers, like Ohtani, Luffy. God,
And there was dudes who I saw who were leaving the stadium as I was going in with handfuls of the cards and hats, walking out, presumably putting it in their car.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fucking kind of anything good, because the sad thing is that the ticket, even like the cheapest one, you easily make your money back if you just keep the card.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But yes, of course,
Crazy.
I One Piece adjacent now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, well, I think you're the only one I can talk this about. You guys went TikTok viral.
So I didn't know this because I don't use TikTok.
Actually, do you know who told me?
Who told you?
Chris Stone.
How the fuck does Chris know? He doesn't fucking use TikTok, does he?
No.
Chris keeps up with the stuff. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know at all.
Chris knows all the drama.
Chris does know drama.
He lives
does
for
keep
the
up with
drama secretly.
Yes, so I didn't know because I don't go on TikTok. I do have an account that posts things, but it's not run by me. And I've never really, I
have not downloaded TikTok a single time.
Well, so I'm on. I have recently started getting into it, trying to learn more about it because it's cool, and I found from this One Piece stuff, I felt like it was really fascinating actually. But so I didn't really go on it, so I didn't know until about like 2 weeks later that it all happened, and I was like, oh wow. But okay,
this was an old podcast too, right?
Yeah. By the way, what you should do for this video is that you should have this soundbite where you say like,
just a clap.
Is One Piece political? Yeah. You should say that and then cut and then start the podcast.
All right.
So
we can do that now.
You say
Connor, is One Piece political?
Okay, we'll get into that in a sec, but now we can use that soundbite. Or I'll be like, wow, Manu. Well.
Roll the intro.
Anyway, I found about 2 weeks later that clip had gone.
Did someone dig up that clip from like back?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Right, yeah.
And what was funny is that, so I guess to preface about what happens in the clip is that, obviously I'm sure anyone who's watching this probably saw it, was that, we had Hassan on, and Hassan says One Piece is political, and then Joey laughs, I laugh, and we're like, oh, it's so funny. It's because he refers to it as a political anime, which, obviously it is.
Oh, yeah.
Love One Piece. And
Yeah.
obsessed with everything.
Which is a very political anime, Connor.
It's okay. Well,
It is a very political
what?
anime.
He told me One Piece is very political.
Yes.
What aspect?
Oh my God. Yes, I love this. Okay. This is going to piss off everybody.
And then that clip then resurfaced and kind of made the rounds. And then it went fucking viral, which was kind of cool to see. I thought it was cool.
I don't know where. Yeah, it's like actually.
I thought it was neat, but we could talk about that in a second, about my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And obviously from that clip, what was interesting is that I had already in a podcast about a month before it went viral again, is that on a podcast we had spoke about it.
About that moment.
Yeah. We were about like how, that was a pretty fucking stupid thing that we said on the time, and was definitely an embellishing of us kind of playing devil's advocate to keep the conversation going. But I also think I genuinely wasn't fully appreciative of the amount of political, I don't know how to explain.
I mean, to be fair, again, I think
messaging in One Piece.
What we talked about at the beginning, just to quickly jump in, is I think, I do think that One Piece is political from the beginning, but it does get increasingly more so later in the story.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it was what,
I feel like at the point where you stopped reading, yes, there is politics there for sure, and you kind of going to all these different islands and they all have their systems and whatnot, but I think it really starts kicking off every arc after kind of the time skip, because immediately, I mean, without spoiling you, but immediately the arc that happens after the time skip, after the war, is all about racism, right, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the stuff happens later, and also a lot of the current newer arcs throw a lot more political light on older arcs. And I think and
I think even
so I don't think it's something to feel particularly bad about if you're not
obviously even when I was reading Skypiea, I was like, oh, this is very clearly a political messaging, and very obviously akin to many real life situations as well. But obviously in the podcast, we often play devil's advocate. This is something that I have cut back on a lot recently, because it just ended up in moments like this where I felt like, okay,
get clipped, and
I'm getting clipped, and I feel like a lot of nuance is being lost. And I also don't blame people. If that is the only clip you see, you would think, I'm a fucking moron. I think that's fair. I'm not trying to be like, people misunderstood. I'm like, I don't, based on the clip, they didn't misunderstand. I think I do look like I'm an illiterate fucking moron. So I'm not really I was not really offended or bothered by it. I was like, it's fucking stupid. I think even playing devil's advocate, there's a lot better ways of advancing that conversation and having that conversation without needing to say One Piece is political, So I think it was very it was bad on my fault for that, and I
personally think it's nothing to apologize for. As a One Piece creator, I love, for me, One Piece is one of the most political stories out there,
extremely so.
But I am very amused by the amount of like how excited people get.
But I also, I'm not mad or anything or upset about it, because at the end of the day, I think like I thought it was really cool, and this is where I come to at least appreciate TikTok a bit more throughout it, was that like, I thought it was like really cool how engaged people were getting with politics through One Piece. I thought it was interesting, and like it was interesting seeing how it was like galvanizing, what seemed to be a lot younger people than me. They were like young, early 20s or teenagers who were getting really into it and like were willing to discuss the political themes of One Piece. And that's great. Like I was not like upset or like people were like, wow, he's going to be so upset. I was like, I thought it was cool, man. I thought it was great that people were using it as a vehicle. Hey, I don't mind people clowning on me at all. And if you want to use that as a way to...
that was the second half of the podcast, actually. I'm going to scrap that.
Well, we can do that too. If you want to use me as a way of...
I was going to do who's that One Piece character for the next 40 minutes.
Who's the real life counterpart to Luffy? Who is French Ferdinand?
Do you know who the counterpart... it's not real life, but it's Sun Wukong.
Sun Wukong
is the inspiration.
No, I do know this. Yeah, I do know this.
It's a Dragon Ball inspiration.
But overall, I was very happy that
I think one
people
thing
were using it as a conversation piece.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that I personally love One Piece because I think One Piece has good fights and like a fun power system, but that's not what makes it like a great anime. It is kind of the storytelling, the characters, the world building, and the politics around it.
Yeah.
That being said, I am... and this is not specifically about your situation, but adjacent. I've been like so tired how every fucking topic that I love, from One Piece to like soccer, like football. Sorry, you're British. I can say football.
You can say football.
Like everything I love has now been politicized with American politics specifically online. And I'm like...
yeah. I think there's so much you can say wrong when you talk about this stuff. And so I think that's why a lot of creators don't want to talk about this kind of stuff. But like, I think I did a really bad job in at least my own personal stuff when, we had Hassan on the second time and I did a clip where I spoke about it. And I think I look back with quite a lot of regret of how I handled that, because I felt like I could have explained myself or my viewpoint a lot better. Because like you said, it does feel like everything is politicized now, like every single thing. And like, I don't mind discussing politics, or I understand as well that a lot of people, especially if they're LGBTQ, that they want to know if the creator they like is or believes that they have a right to exist. And I think that's also, as a viewer, you're entitled to know that, I think. Like I
will say also, very quick to jump in, just One Piece specific.
Yeah.
There is, you read the entire like prison arc, right?
Yeah, it's all very like, LGBTQ friendly, bro.
There is a surprising amount of, homophobic One Piece fans where I'm always...
it's crazy.
Where I'm like, what the fuck are you reading, actually?
They'll speak some like anti-trans bullshit, and then they'll be like, dude, I love One Piece. It's like, dude,
the fuck,
do you know how many trans characters there are on this thing, dude? Like, what's wrong with you? And then I think One Piece, and then like,
we don't need to stick with One Piece. I think
but I think One Piece is a great vehicle, and I think galvanized a lot of young people into like finding a way that they can kind of mutually talk about politics through a media that they love.
I think I need to probably be careful how I phrase this, because I have always been, I think ever since like middle or high school, also very politically interested. Like I love talking. I mean, we all talk a lot of political stuff off camera and stuff too. And I think it's very important. Like, I'm not saying don't be political. Just especially, it's very important to make your voice count, right? To actually, like challenge and test your own beliefs, talk with people who don't have the same beliefs as you. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it has become less of a exchange of ideas and challenging of ideas,
it's
and
like
more like and more like, hey, I'm gonna watch like Bayern Munich versus Arsenal tonight. Is that Republican or Democrat? Is kind of like a little bit exaggerated, but
I had this thought the other day as well. When
it's like, well, how does that make you feel about the Israel-Gaza conflict? I'm like, dude, I just wanted to like drink a beer, honestly.
I mean, it's why when I did talk about it a bit, and why I think some people misconstrued with sometimes take it as the fact that the live streams that I do or the videos that I make, for me at least, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna play, I don't know, fucking Peak and then be like, whoa, geez, guys, this reminds me of climbing the stairs on January 6th, let's talk about that for a moment, shall we? It's like, I just feel like that is not the place, nor do I feel that I'm educated enough to sit there and talk about it.
I think that's the biggest part to me, is that I think a lot of people want and this goes for creators, but maybe even in your personal life, right? They want you to have an opinion on everything. But I have topics that I have spent a lot of time reading about and thinking about and talking about it with different people. And that doesn't mean I don't have opinions about other topics, but I know that for a fact I'm not the right person to ask about this.
It depends on certain things. I think there are certain things that I feel like there should be a lot of confidence in being able to speak about openly. And certain things it's like, hey, maybe you should just also wait to see, get more reliable information, or perhaps we should see more of the subject.
Ooh, we can roll into AI right afterwards.
And so like, I had a really good thought earlier, and I think I fucking lost it. But as I was saying, like, I think like at least on my live stream, what I like doing, and personally, like what I find creatively fulfilling is just, you know, exploring these games, playing these games, or covering this aspect of Japanese media. It's not that I don't. If you would ever ask me, I have no interest in talking about politics. I'm more than happy to discuss it on like this show, for example. I'm happy to say, even if you're like, hey, tell me where you lean on every single issue, I'll be like, okay, let's talk about it, man. I'll tell you where I stand.
I know you have so many guns at home. Yeah.
Second Amendment. Is that second? The second, right?
It's the second.
You know, like I'm happy to like discuss these things. I'm not an apolitical person. It's just on my YouTube channel where I'm playing fucking dumbass games. Oh no, they're not. Sorry, none of them dumbass. That's unfair to the creators who make these amazing games. Although where I find it's like this is one political escape for me, and there are other creators who are more willing to discuss these things.
I also
who
think
do a better job.
And I think this is something I needed to learn myself, because I very much belonged in this group of people who felt like if I'm consuming political content, I'm doing politics and I'm contributing to something, when that's not really the case. Like if you have something you really care about, go out there and like, you know, like be an activist for it, or like get involved. And I think it's important if you're a creator, obviously you have like your words have a certain amount of impact on things. But I don't think you're fulfilling, like you're not doing a good thing by like being online and commenting or like talking about everything in the political like arena, I think. And I don't like, I want to have spaces of things that I consume, or, you know, hobbies I follow, where I like, nothing is politics free. Yes. But I you know, there's like, I think there's times to think about politics and times to not do it. And I feel like the internet in general has become a place where it almost feels like everything has this like,
I mean, there's that kind of
staple to it.
And then I guess there's the ultimate argument that a lot of people will often just kind of be like, oh, well, doing nothing means, you know, that's a terrible way to phrase it. Like, you not talking about it in this immediate moment is you kind of condoning it. Which is like, okay, no, like, not at all. It's so tough to like fully explain it. And I guess One Piece is a phenomenal tool to discuss politics, right? And I think that's why it's so good to find the parallels between the real world and One Piece. Like, I think obviously it's very, very obvious to hopefully anyone what is happening in Palestine and Israel is a fucking genocide. And I think Luffy wouldn't fuck with what's going on either. I don't think he would be super stoked about it. But I also don't think that, at least from my experience, you know, I'm happy to say that publicly, but I also don't think me being performative or pressuring YouTubers or something to performatively go, hey guys, fuck Israel and what they're doing. Like, I think that's the wrong way to go about it from at least a viewer perspective, to kind of pressure people to talk about it who don't feel confident. Because I just think it's just vapid if you make a creator do it performatively.
Please let me know if you feel like this is egotistical, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like as a One Piece creator, I'm always gonna, in a certain way, like in like my own political views are gonna always bleed a little bit into my content. And One Piece is political, right?
How you would dissect One Piece would be very internally
absolutely. And I'm not saying like don't worry about it, don't care about it at all, but also I don't feel obligated to share my personal political views with you. And I also don't think that the majority of people want to hear me like, I mean, if there's something I feel strongly about, I'll mention it, right? If it's, you know, like, hey, One Piece is about diversity and like, but I don't know. I feel if I was a political commentator, like if that's my job, I'm a political creator. Okay, then I understand that I am like responsible for actually like standing up and like talking about that stuff. But I also feel like, going back to you, like if you feel like you want to share certain beliefs that you stand for, I think that is a good thing. But I don't think there should necessarily be pressure on everyone Like it almost feels like there's this need to like have like
go live and
have
like
a political your political Tinder
Compass.
profile almost. Like.
But I also understand that as a viewer, if you are like LGBTQ, you want to know if the creator believes you have rights, and I think that's totally fair. That's completely reasonable to have that as a viewer.
But I feel like also at the same time, I feel like if you're watching a tutorial how to fix your fridge.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Who gives a fuck, right?
But I guess I think I did a bad job because I know that I'm in a perspective of like I know people watch me because they like me, and I'm very fortunate that people are willing to watch me for my personality. And I think it's naive of me to think that I should never say my politics.
No, for sure.
Because I think it's I think sometimes these are also just basic fucking human rights. Like
absolutely.
And and with One Piece especially, I think it is.
But I think there's a difference though if you want to actively share things that are important to you, and I think, or if you feel pressured to like.
I'm firmly against people pressuring creators to have to talk about it,
or like or people like starting to talk about politics because they feel like they need to cater to like a specific audience or something.
Yeah, and for a long time, because obviously, like I mentioned earlier, like what is happening in Gaza and Israel, it's like a fucking horrible genocide, and Netanyahu, what he's doing is fucking diabolical. But for a long time, I just didn't like feel confident speaking on it because I didn't want people to think that if I said something that I was being anti-Semitic, because I didn't want people to think that if I said something about it or I like condemned the actions that Israel are doing, that I'm like, hey, I'm anti-Semitic, and I didn't feel confident in my way to explain that fully. And like only like now, after kind of being able to sit on it a bit and be able to like kind of realize that, hey, perhaps the way I handled it initially was really fucking stupid, and the way I spoke about it was not helpful, or the way that perhaps I explained to people that I didn't want to speak to it about it came off as me trying to be like I'm above politics. And I think that it's just a minefield, and whatever you say, you're going to upset someone, right?
Exactly.
Which is the problem.
I do feel like, though, it should be okay to say, hey, I don't feel qualified enough to share my thoughts on this issue. Like, for me, I mean, if you want to talk about, like, for me, I'm like, I don't have the background knowledge to actually, I see what's in the news, right?
Yeah.
But does it help if the One Piece creator shares their? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe for some people it does.
I do think.
But I feel
this
like
is where I've kind of changed my mind. For a while, I did think it was not helpful for me as a creator that wasn't a political creator to talk about this stuff. But I do think now there's at least some value in me as a creator being like, hey, I think what's happening in I'll say it again, but like the Gaza is like a genocide. Like I think as a creator, if I say that some people will at least take that in, and if more people feel that way, then there's more political pressure for this to change, right? So I do think there's some value in it, but I think this is a rare circumstance where this is like I think this is one of those situations where like it is such a pressing thing, it is so like abhorrent what is happening, that I do think there is value in creators talking about it. But there are other political situations where I'm like, hey, I think some creators fucking doing some shit that I'm like, I don't know if I agree with how you're handling this, and certain things where maybe they're kind of brand new things where new information is coming out and we don't know what's going on, that I don't think it's helpful that the creator talks about it. I think it's actually detrimental. But it really depends on the situation. But overall, I firmly believe if you are if you're a fucking woodworking channel and you just make shelves, why the fuck should
exactly
should they have to
exactly?
But on the other hand, if they do want to,
if they want to, they can. But I feel like
there shouldn't be pressure.
I mean, I think that's my main point.
Because there's like,
and maybe I did a bad job also phrasing that.
I didn't do a bad job.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point. I feel like everyone should also like obviously always be free to share the political ideas, and if you think, I don't know, like, hey, I want to, like, I think but the emperor should be the new prime minister of Japan, like whatever. But you can say that. But I think it's not good that people just expect everything to come with like a...
Because I also think if fucking uneducated people who are actually not educating themselves on what is happening speak about it, it makes the situation worse.
I think it's a lot of young people also, who like have been getting politicized also, which again, I think being politically interested when you're young is very important.
It's great.
But also making this like part of your identity to such a strong degree where... Yeah, and it's I think specifically it's this entire American left-right thing that feels if you're not and again if you're American, I apologize, but if you're not American, it just makes no sense to you having that like pushed onto your own belief system.
That was a big thing that I had a big discussion about with after I had some when I very poorly handled me talking about having Hassan on the podcast. Is I went in and spoke to some other creators afterwards, and they were like, yeah, I sometimes forget you are not American. You've never lived in America. You've never, and so it's like, it's
very different.
My perspective is just inherently so different. But it's at least on that side of things.
I mean, we're both from Europe, right? I think obviously as Europeans, we would probably both say that British and German politics are very different, but I think in the big picture, like we are a lot more similar to each other than like. I think US, right?
And I think also German culture is closer to British culture than it is to American. Like seriously,
you guys were originally German.
Yeah.
Don't want to
Anglo-Saxon.
we only sent the best over there.
But I'll never agree that we took from the French, even though we say fucking pork and beef bullshit. But I mean, yeah, I genuinely like, and I think a lot of, even though British and American, we share the same language. I think the cultural day by day, if you live or go to the UK, we're so much more similar to France or to Germany than to America. It's so different in America.
Yeah.
And I think that's sometimes lost, but it's such a fucking shitty situation to have to do this. 'Cause I mean, but everything is so politicized right now that I do think as a creator, you absolutely have the right to be like, hey, I'm happy.
I don't want to. I'm
happy to like. If you ask me in person, I'll talk about it. But I don't think I have to talk about it.
I think that's my main point. I think my main 2 points are: it should be okay to say I just don't want to talk about it, and that doesn't mean I'm like pro or against one side or the other. I just want to talk about One Piece, right? We can talk about One Piece politics.
I think a lot of people with this whole One Piece thing, I think there is a danger that people just then parrot things they've heard from someone who got a lot of likes. And what the comment section says.
Obviously, yeah.
Which I think is not helpful. I think you need to genuinely like actually look into it, read sources that are helpful, which I've been trying to do a lot this year. I've been trying to get like a lot more educated on it all because I felt like I was very lacking in that, and I've been wanting to do that a lot more. And that does not mean just reading the top comments, which I feel like is what a lot of people do, is that they read the top comments of like either TikTok or YouTube. But I think any amount of engagement that you are engaging with it and trying to improve the life around you and trying to fight for people who have been marginalized, I think that's great. Like I think any of that you can do is good. And One Piece is a great vehicle for that. I think that's the one amazing thing out of all this, which is why I wasn't upset about the One Piece stuff and being cloud on. I don't mind, because I think what has ultimately come from this is that people are using anime and media literacy to better educate themselves and
I also do think though that it's just comparatively it's a lot more boring to pick up a history book. I agree. Then like go to like Joe Rogan and like listen to some dude like talk about it.
It's fun to analyze political or world events through the lens of One Piece.
And I will say, I mean, I'm the same. Like when I was younger, I was getting a lot of my political opinions from YouTube, and only like later you realize, oh, this person is very charismatic in how they present their ideas. But actually looking at it now, having learned more,
it's so complicated, and there's so much.
I've had this a lot, like over the last years, where like people I really liked in different spaces, not only politically but other spaces, that I felt like made a lot of sense and were really charismatic. Where now I feel like maybe not so much. And I think it's especially when you're younger and you're very eager to also learn about the world and like get an opinion. It's very easy to find someone who sounds like they make a lot of sense and adapt that opinion for yourself.
I felt like it used to be there used to be a lot more consideration for research and all this stuff, and obviously there's been a massive push for like anti-intellectualism in general. I feel like
or anti I guess
fucking researching
establishment.
And it's funny because on YouTube there's like, I always find it so interesting that there's always this one, like Ground News always gets pushed, right? And all these like really.
Speaking of which, this video is brought.
Like sometimes like these like very well researched or well educated videos, and then they'll say like, "Hey, look, we sponsor Ground News," and it'll tell you if this person is right or this person is left. And in my head, I'm like, I think I can see the value in that, knowing like, okay, I want to kind of get this perspective from a media source that kind of aligns with how I view the world. But also at the same time, I kind of feel weird at the fact that you maybe like are completely writing off many other ways of perhaps seeing a thing. So I don't know. It's all weird, right? Because it's like, I don't think I want to be like, I don't think I want someone to tell me, hey, this is left, by the way, or this is right. It's like, why don't I just fucking read it and figure it out?
And see if it makes sense for me or not.
Or read it and be like, wow, they really fucking spun that the way, didn't they? Like, I feel like the inability to kind of,
judge for yourself.
I guess media literacy or whatever the fuck. Just read something and be like, make up your own mind is really like kind of.
I mean, it sounds really dumb. It's like a shit sentence because it sounds so empty. But I feel
a lot of people don't do it. People like, want to be told which side to be on.
Exactly, but also like actually listening to opinions that maybe you don't like. And like in the best case scenario for yourself, you go out of that it's being like, I was fucking right. But maybe you actually like learned something that's like, okay, well, I didn't like, maybe it didn't change my opinion completely, but at least I'm like, okay, well, I guess that makes a little bit more sense to me now, right?
I think it just helped, in this, because things are evolving so fast that, and I think content creators are playing a massive role right now in the stage of world politics, and so a lot of people.
It doesn't help that it's like very again. This is easy coming from someone who does One Piece content, because if I am like hyperbolical or like a little bit clickbaity about something, you're like, okay, I don't like you being too like exaggerating this thing about One Piece, but I don't have that responsibility. Like if I was talking about like politics or like world news or something, I think being sensationalist to get views and to like, make a living on the internet is a lot more questionable in my personal opinion than, talking about a topic where it's not as consequential to how people tackle things.
Yeah, it's such a...
I also feel like, I don't know if you, and I think probably everyone has this, like a certain level of fatigue.
Yeah,
that's just attached to everything. You just don't want to deal with like certain, and that's kind of even more. I feel like if you're consuming so much politics and like politics makes up such a big chunk of your daily life to the point where you feel like tired thinking about it.
So I think, that's definitely something. Like the fatigue is real, but then I also understand a lot of people will say, and they'll say like, okay, look. We're in a very fortunate position where we can kind of be like, I'm signing off. I'm done right now. And I know I'm lucky I can do that. I can be like, fuck, I don't want to engage with this today. But I know for a lot of people that's not a reality. And so I understand why and appreciate why some people are galvanized and it's everything. But I think you don't convince people by wearing them the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I think that is a tough thing to manage because it is almost a screaming match online. There is no talking. It is a screaming match.
Though
are
I
you
will
with
say,
me or are you against me? That's all I care about. That's all I want to know.
But why? It's not because people don't. Yeah, it's because the few people who do that, like that's not the post that you get recommended on fucking X on the front page, right?
Yeah, I mean you
get the most out. Like you either get the one that is like bullshitting on the other side, and you're like fucking and or it's the one that's like so outrageous. Where you're like, oh, I gotta drop a comment on this one.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you still use X quite a lot or Twitter?
X, not really. I mean, it's genuinely a depressing place.
It's very I
think there is almost. I think Twitter is at a point where there is genuinely no good communication that can come from talking on Twitter.
Wasn't there a good...
you can talk about.
I feel like there was like some statistic, and this is like the classic, I'm doing, because this is a new podcast, right? I got to do the podcasting and cite statistics that are probably wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like I read somewhere that like if you read a comment on X, it's much more likely to be a bot at this point than a real person.
It feels like it, bro. It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. Like every time I go on there, I'm just trying to keep up with what my friends are doing. And then they'll just be like, the UK is being turned.
On fire.
It's being ruined. And it's like, mate, I'm from the UK and I talk to people from the UK. It's really fucking fine. Like, you're just exaggerating for clicks. And a lot of these people who consume this stuff aren't from the fucking country they're trying to
I will
push
say,
this narrative.
even when I went to the US last year, before the election, like based on everything that was on the news, like whether it was American news or like YouTube or even like the European, like German or Japanese news, right? It kind of felt like the entire country was like this close to like civil war. And you go somewhere, like I was in Arizona, right? Which is like, I guess technically like pretty 50-50 most of the time, or like at least can go either way.
Purple state.
Purple, yeah. So at least there should be like a roughly even amount of like liberal and conservatives. people just chill and live their lives. They don't want to talk. Like they sit in the bar and there's like fucking like flames on the TV, and like people don't get, like, most people don't really care. They want to live their lives, I think. And I think a lot of people just, that's the thing. Like if you're online, it feels like the world is on fire 24/7. And I think you kind of like, for your, again, that's my point. Like, I'm not saying don't care about it, but I think you do need to give yourself breaks to live a normal life, and then pick stuff that you care about and like consume it then, and then, you know, like take your moments where you actually engage with it. But otherwise it's just gonna feel like the world is like about to end every single moment. And who knows, like even if that's the case, like that's not a great way to live in general. I think
you know, obviously, because it is quite dire, and for a lot of people this is, you know, life or death. So I think a lot of people feel very, very strongly about it. But I think there's I think for some people is, but is it really on the broad? And no, this may be me being naive, right? You know,
it depends what it is.
Hard to say, right? Because I don't feel like confident I can speak for a lot of people. But what I feel like I can speak for is that there are a lot of people who are very on the fence about a lot of things, and the screaming matches don't often convince a lot of people. And so I think it's really fucking shit.
I mean, I can only come from the other side, because I decided like 3 months ago to do like cold turkey on like YouTube, Twitter, everything. The only content I consume online at the moment is football content, like soccer.
Nice.
Which, by the way, also when you read the comments on X, it's just people like being like anti-Semitic, racist. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, my team wins, and even people are still like, but like that, like, what the fuck? Yeah. But yeah, so I've been like detoxing really hard. Like, first of all, a lot of my anxiety has gone away.
Yeah.
But also, you kind of like, after 1 or 2 weeks, you kind of return to like a bit of a baseline of just being chill, and then maybe some like you read a newspaper or something. Yeah. But I feel like I kind of miss this state of there's like many hours in my day where I just, you know, I think about what am I gonna make for dinner tonight or something.
I mean, there's a lot. I guess those are just the people would probably argue back, and they'd say like, yeah, for me, it's, you know, my life is on the line or whatever, you know, especially if, you know, it really depends. But I think it is a luxury that we at least we have, that we can do that.
It absolutely is. But I think if you just, sorry to quickly cut you off, but if you say like, let's take LGBTQ rights for something, LGBTQ plus rights, right? If this is affecting you and you feel very worried about your well-being and your like what your life's going to look like, then maybe focus on that topic, and like really, like, you know, like that's your topic because it affects you. Then maybe you don't need to have like that many opinions about all the other like 20, 30, 40 issues out there. You can. I'm not saying you can, but
I don't really know.
But I think it's like it just muddies the water if you try to like be up to date with everything and have an opinion on everything. And, you know, like there's Russia here, and, you know, like the Middle East there. And
I think, the only frustrating part from my perspective as a creator was that I felt like I was obviously very open with how I showed myself to the viewers, and I thought it was very easy to discern where I stood on things. But I guess for a lot of people it wasn't. And then some people take that as like, okay, if you don't say XXXX, you're X, or you're Y, you know. And it's like, well, no, it's like, and I think the problem is that when you accuse people of being Y because they didn't say X, it's like you are pushing people away to not want to engage with any of this stuff. And I think that's what a lot of creators, and why some creators, maybe they don't talk about it, is because they feel pushed away from it. And they're like, this all feels like a mess. All I know is that if I say nothing and continue doing what I'm doing, I won't fuck up, which, you know, could be cowardice. You could say it is, it isn't. I think it's a tough time, and I think everyone's trying to figure out what the fuck they need to do and how they can help and do their part. Yeah, I think also, like, it was time for a swig of sake. This is like, I think any PR person would tell you it's the most dangerous thing on earth to be doing what we're doing now, which is
drinking alcohol and talking politics on the internet. What could go wrong?
Obviously, you know, like, charity was a huge part of what I've been trying to do and trying to raise money for, which, you know, as people correctly surmised, is an inherently political thing to be doing. Like, I have advocated a lot for rights for people who are disabled, for people who have health conditions, you know, and that's been like a really big part of what I've been doing. And for me, I found it at least useful to like be very focused on that.
Is advocating for the rights of disabled people political? Or are you just being an asshole?
If you'd asked me, like, I think if you'd asked the world 10 years ago, I think they would have thought that would have been you being a decent person. But I think nowadays,
is that a thing? Yeah,
I think unfortunately that is
fucking
like
hell.
This is like picking a side, which is fucking crazy.
Is there a against disabled people side?
I am trying so fucking hard to like use my platform to really advocate
do that
for this, and I think
also you always do the streams for the immune deficiency.
I do, and I work really closely with this charity, and I understand that is inherently a political thing, and people would always kind of bring that up as like when I would talk about I don't want to bring politics on my platform, and I was like, okay, it's fair enough. I think that's valid, but then people would also just kind of what I felt was very frustrating is that people would use that and kind of I don't know how to explain this other than just being blunt with it. Like, obviously I work a lot with Iron Mouse, and Iron Mouse is a disabled creator as well, who's Latina, and people would use that as an argument for me to kind of be like, I'm not using politics. And it's like, for me, and when I spoke to Mouse about it, it was like, it's quite ableist to use someone's disability to further your own argument as well. And that was really frustrating as well, because I feel like a lot of the time when you talk about this stuff online, everyone will just use anything they can to win or get brownie points.
Yeah.
And all the humanity is gone. And it's like using a someone else's disability to just win an argument or to prove a point is like, damn, dude, that's so fucking heartless of you. To push that and to be like, well, I know what they would want. And it's like, dude, just let them speak on this or let them not speak on this. It's up to them. They're a creator. So yeah, that's my final thing. I'm happy to shut the fuck up about it now. But yeah, ultimately, I would like to hope that throughout all of this, that, I know you're a good guy, and I really respect you.
I don't know, maybe
I'm
not.
more than happy to talk to you about this stuff. Other than the stuff that you said about, I won't talk about Luffy and what you said about it.
Oh yeah, actually.
But like, that's why I don't mind talking to this about you on camera stuff, because I know that like I think you're a really cool guy, and
Thank you.
I know your heart's in a great place, and I'd like to think that people hopefully can understand us a bit more. As well.
I mean, I do hope so. I mean, obviously, I kind of wanted to talk to you about this on the podcast because I mean, first of all, I know you are eloquent enough, so I can talk to you about it.
I feel like the more I'm online, the less eloquent I am. I feel like I'm not eloquent at all.
But I think, I mean, I feel like we discuss politics quite a lot in our personal time.
Yeah, we do.
And we talked about it very quickly while we took a break.
We're immigrants, bro. I know when you're in these
exactly, yeah.
Like, people in Japan, you'll speak to other people who are, they're normally obviously from America or whatever, and they'll be like, we're expats. And I'm like, we're fucking immigrants, bro.
Yeah.
Just stop trying to use a fancy word for it. We immigrated to this country, dude. Like, it is what it is. And I think it's because it's got a lot of, unfortunately, amongst these like people who kind of think they're like, no, we're so much better.
We're better than immigrants.
It's like, brother, man.
Still immigrants, yeah.
I make fucking YouTube videos. I'm very fucking privileged that I get to do that.
And be here and live off YouTube is like it's like actually... do you ever stop? Do you ever like have these moments?
Dude,
I have this like.
I know how lucky I am. I appreciate
just like you
it
sit
every
at your
fucking day.
desk and like sometimes I'm like, oh, now I got to record a video, and then like you're like, actually, like I get to do that. Like I'm privileged enough to like be in Japan, have a visa based on doing YouTube about anime, which is insane.
That's kind of why the charity stuff for me came about, was because I kind of just had this moment where I was like, man, I was talking to Mouse. And I was so spoiled in the fact that I didn't appreciate how fortunate I was to, one, not only be a creator who has this platform that I can do good with, but to also be completely able. I can travel the world. Yep. I also get obviously a lot of, we're very fortunate that sometimes I'm white, bro. I get a lot of white privilege. It's real, bro. I mean, in Japan, they'll be like, immigrants. And I'll be like, I'm
white immigrant.
I'm like, bro, I'm an immigrant. They'll say it to my face. I'm like, dude, it's like, why don't you, and I've been very fortunate to have benefited so much from my position. And, meeting Mouse really kind of gave me an eye opening of like, oh shit, like, I've done nothing to try and give back and to try and use what I had been very fortunate to build for good. And that was why all the charity stuff came about. And I've really tried to do my best to kind of use my platform and to really advocate for charity stuff. And charity is really difficult. And I don't expect every creator to do it either, and nor do I shame any creator for not doing it, because I worked really hard to find a charity that I knew I could trust. There are a lot of creators who sometimes raise money for charity, and it turns out the charity is to no fault of their own.
No, but
wasn't doing what they should have been doing and what they pledged to do. And I don't think you can reasonably expect every creator to have to go through the fucking financials of every charity, because a lot of them are uploading either I'm fucking playing games or One Piece videos. It's like like this shit is just not in our wheelhouse. That's not our job. Like companies hire teams to find this out. Like it is unreasonable to expect
finding doing good charity work, like just
tough,
effective altruism is like a really tough thing.
Because you could raise money you could ask your viewers to raise so much money, and then that money could go completely to waste.
I think the thing is that
it's performative.
Usually, and I'm not sure if this is your experience too, but like I feel like looking into effective altruism, usually the things that make the biggest difference are the least sexy things you can do.
Oh my God, you're so cool there about this.
Right? And I think that, I know you personally. I would say, even as a viewer, I feel like what you do for charity feels very legit, because it comes also from a personal, connection with Mouse.
I care a lot about it,
but I know you personally, so I do know that you're like very genuine about it. But I think it's very like, obviously, like we all know creators who like you, like, where it's kind of at least unclear whether the charity is meant. Yeah. Well, is it? Do you want to do something good, or is the charity kind of you like doing some image?
It's like a shield in a video game. It's like, do I get to deflect criticism?
Well, not even a shield. Sometimes it's just like, I want some charisma points, right? Yeah.
But it's like, oh, but he did it for charity. And it's like, well, like, yes, and that's good. And I think even when the creator does charity and it didn't exactly work out, I still think it's good that they are doing the idea.
I do think that intention matters.
Intention does
drastically.
Matter,
is it better that you did like a really good thing, even though you kind of did it for yourself? And like, if you had not done that thing,
it can be
hard to say. I mean, it's.
And hopefully it's apparent that when the creator is, and I think everyone can probably off the top of their head think of a creator who did it maybe for, reasons. I know you had the exact same thought. It's pretty obvious sometimes when a creator is doing it performatively, versus kind of really trying to really understand how they can make their money go further. But more importantly, if you are asking viewers to donate, you need to make sure you fully understand
and take responsibility for that money.
I feel so responsible for all the money that I had ever asked anyone to donate, and that's why when we did our first cyclothon and we raised so much money and the charity reached out to me, I really reached out back and I was like, hey, thank you so much for opening this dialogue. I really want to kind of get a bit closer with you guys so I can really understand where this money's going.
Be transparent about it too with the viewers.
Yeah, so I can tell the viewers, hey, this is where the money's going.
Here's a receipt right here. Here's where the money's going.
Here's what we're trying to spend it on.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff, it's tough, man, because some of it is so boring. And some of it is so
it might quite
unsexy.
Literally just digging like a watering trench, and that doesn't sound great, but it
And so for your immune deficiency
or agriculture or whatever it may be, right? Yeah.
And I can only speak on what I've worked with, and I've worked with the Immune Deficiency Foundation for a couple of years now, and I've been really trying to help them get their social media better, because all of them are, in a nice way, are a bit older than me. And and a lot of these charities are run by a lot of older people who don't really understand it. And the concept might not inherently be something that is so familiar. For example, I think it's really easy to look at something like Make-A-Wish and to understand why they're so successful as a charity. It's so visceral seeing the,
what's happening,
the stories,
result,
and it's so easy to understand, like, money goes to this. And that's like what you would say is a sexy thing to advertise, because the story is so personal. It's so you can empathize with it a lot. You can sympathize a lot with it. It's touching. Having to tell someone, hey, this $1,000 is going to go to flying out a doctor to listen to a seminar is not inherently sexy.
Yeah.
But it is arguably as important as those things, like having
or getting we're gonna spend $10,000 on syringes, right?
It's for fucking flyers, pamphlets. It's not fucking. It's not exciting.
Or mosquito nets or whatever it may be, right?
It's not exciting, but this is stuff that needs to be done, and it's really important to get that stuff done so you can do the really big picture stuff. But and I always have a really hard time trying to explain to people. I'm like, it's hard even with like primary immune deficiency, which is what the Immune Deficiency Foundation does, and common variable immune deficiency. Like the words are so fucking big that like it's all acronyms, and all of these stuff, like these diseases, not even doctors know how to handle it. So they have to pay to fly out doctors to go to conferences to listen to the experts and learn about it, which is crazy to think that like, I just assume the doctor knows everything. That when I go and like I have this like bulbous thing on my leg, he'll know what to do. Yeah. But a lot of the time they just don't know.
I mean, I can tell you because I come from a medical family.
Oh fuck, hell
so,
yeah.
I mean, my dad is constantly, and he's fairly close to retirement, and he's still.
They go to like conferences all the time to learn things, right?
He does radiation therapy for cancer. Wow, and he needs to go, even though he has a physicist who needs to be present, when anything is done. Yeah, you still need to go like pass with 50 physics exams and like go serious, learn, like read papers every single day. So it's like a whole thing. It's a lot. I feel like the biggest fraud, like just being like, well, today, what Luffy did, you see, is that he unlocked a new gear.
Luffy would donate to charity. He's a good egg. But if you are a creator or you ever come across a creator who's expressed interest in charity stuff, the best way that you can do. And I think personally was that like I went out of my way to kind of hire. I hired someone because I was not confident that I could do this myself. But you could do it yourself as well. I said all these charities, all their financials are public. They have to be
vetting where it goes. Yeah,
you can easily vet them. I wasn't confident that I could do that appropriately, so I hired a guy to do it for me. And I was like, hey, could you look over this charity and just have a look? Is this
legit?
Just make sure the money's being spent on things that they claim it's being spent on, or that because some charities you might give $10 to, and maybe $9 of that goes to like overhead, like just upkeep, stuff that isn't actually the charity. It's like, hey, that's great, and I obviously understand that people need to be paid, or that most nonprofits have staff, and that this is an unavoidable cost. But is at least most of the money going towards the thing that I want it to go towards? And this is very easy to do generally. So if you are a creator, I really recommend it's worth kind of like doing that.
Yeah. Especially if you feel like you have an audience also that is engaged and supports that type of activity.
Or you can give to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which I think is really cool. We call it the Cool IDF. The acronym is very unfortunate.
I never thought about that. Oh my god! Okay.
Yeah, every time I do a thing, I'm like, we raised this much for the IDF. We have to be like the Cool IDF, not the monstrous murderous one. Like, it's unfortunate, but. The one good thing is that people at least click on it and they're like, what the fuck? He's raising money for, let's learn more about it. So it works out. It works out in the end.
I mean, I think I'm very proud of you also for putting this up, because you've been doing it very regularly every year. Also, when you do your cyclotron, for example, right?
I try to. I want to. My goal is to do.
I think that's kind of nice, because it also, I think, when it comes to, I mean, and this is not a streaming thing. Yeah. I think streaming in general reminds me a lot of YouTube a couple of years ago, where it's like very flashy, very
it's fun.
Big
that's
cars and doing dumb stuff. And I think it's nice setting a bit of a good example. Also, maybe
I don't know. I'm just trying to. I don't ever think about that. I'm not like, I want to make a good example. I'm like, man, I just want to.
No. I know you're not, but I feel like given how like what some streaming content looks like.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm always trying to grow, and that's why I like, if I can always do something better, or I can use my platform for more good, I'm always trying to. Nice. And I'm trying to find the best avenue to do that, and which one can capture the most audience to allow me to do more cool stuff, and then to use the platform for good and try and use that for good things.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. I think now that
like Luffy would.
Exactly.
Just like Luffy would. I'd like to think that Luffy would.
I'm not, funnily enough, I'm not sure if Luffy would be someone to give to charity. I think he would be more someone who would just show up and like do stuff. He would.
He'd rather be at the soup kitchen.
I don't think he would. I don't think he'd care too much about the concept.
He wouldn't advocate. He'd just be like, let's just fucking rock up and do it.
Dude, I'm going to kill some dinosaurs and farm some meat or something.
He'd like break the fucking cages of the chickens that are being kept in. He's like, let them free,
and then eat the chickens too. I wanted to kind of switch over now that we farmed the topic of politics for enough clips.
We farmed that.
Yes,
you got holy clips from me. Fuck, please Please clip me nicely.
They never do.
They never do. But it is what it is.
I wanted to switch a little bit over to like life in Japan, because it looks like at least both you and me have kind of, I'm not sure if it was the same for you, but for me, I've kind of almost inadvertently, without like actually planning to, like really sprouted roots here, and it looks like I'm going to be here long term. And
I don't think I'm going to leave.
Was it the same? Like, did you just have a point where you're like, I'm gonna stay in Japan, or was it kind of like, I have like my social, like it's nice to live here, it's easy to live in Japan, it's just happened?
Not worried about social things. I mean, obviously you must feel the same way, but once you've moved country once, you've kind of had to reset the social group and meter anyway. And I've become really fond of the fact that I can kind of travel to so many places in the world, and I always have friends that I can always reach out to, and that's been something I've really treasured. But I only came here intentionally for like, I don't know, like 2 years. I really didn't think I was going to stay here longer than that, because I mean, you just assume you go home, and one of the first questions you get asked from everyone when you move is like, "Oh, when are you going back? You know, when are you leaving? When are you going to return home?" Because that's just an expectation that people have, and so I always just assumed I would go back, but you almost feel like, oh, I'm kind of not done yet. Like I still have more to do, and then after a certain point of thinking that way. I've been here for 6 years now, and now I feel like, oh no, there's not like more to do. It's just, this is what feels like home. Yeah. Like I really, really feel like I have a home, and like there's even around me, it's like I have my coffee store. I go to my favorite coffee roastery. I go to my favorite like lunch spots, and I know all these people, and like I know what they're, you know, and I chat with them every single time I go, and I really love that sense of community that I have in Japan, that I really treasure, that I don't think I had in the UK. Not for a lack of, like, not because it wasn't there, but I never really tried. But I've really felt like I've really kind of become ingrained in
I think that's Japan. Actually a very important point. I think the same goes for me. Because obviously going to Japan, you enter with the like it's the classic failure. You come here with the rose-colored glasses, and then you stay here longer. And yes, every country has its issues.
100%, Japan's got a lot of issues.
But because you come here with the rose-colored glasses and you move countries, it's exactly what you said. It kind of gives you that kick in the butt to actually go out, meet people, try new things. Like for me, also coming here the first time, again, like starting YouTube, but also it like opened my horizon, like meeting so many different types of people, new culture, trying to actually fit in and learn about a culture. I think theoretically, I'm sure that if you try to apply the same thing to your hometown or home country, right, it might have the same effect if you just pretended from tomorrow that you didn't know anything about this place and you started exploring new parts of your city.
Yeah.
I'm sure you noticed, like when I was growing up in Munich, which is still not Tokyo, but a big city, I had like the 5-6 same places I would usually go to. That's where you hang out, meet your friends, and like this place where you go at night.
But Japan made me kind of have like it, because Tokyo's so big that it really made me seek out more like personal connection with people I interact with every day, or at least have some kind of like kind of what's the word? Not retort, rapport with people that I saw often, and I wanted to just show that, like, hey man, like I want to fucking support.
But, you know, no French influence on the British.
Fuck no. God damn it, this French.
The coup d'etat.
I say like 30% of all English words are French. God damn it.
I think it might be even more, huh?
It's so ridiculous. Yeah. Fuck the French in there.
Do you know how they came to? Do you know like did we talk about this? The fact that all the peasants spoke German and like the nobility spoke French?
Because of course it was you eat pig, and the nobility ate pork. Of course, yeah.
Swine.
I feel like a swine.
Cow and beef.
No, I mean, but like I really love Wales as well, and I deeply love Wales and my home. And it's not that I think Japan is better or anything like this.
No,
it's just for me.
But it is quite. I think, and this is maybe a privileged thing of us being self-employed. I think being self-employed here as YouTubers,
I'm so lucky.
When you get to enjoy Japan on your own,
it's amazing,
and you don't like it. It is really max privilege, but if you don't have to go to a regular job here and you just can like be like, hey, maybe I'm going to work at night and I'm like during the day, I just want to like go somewhere and like go to a museum or whatever, right? Like it is so nice to live here.
There's a lot of convenience, but I also think as well, creatively speaking, there's a lot of creatives in Japan and especially Tokyo,
very true,
which I think I care a lot about. Whereas in my home of Wales, not so much.
But I also I'm not sure if you agree with this. I feel like what I really like about Japanese people, at least in Tokyo specifically, is that no matter who they are, And no matter what their life situation is, everyone seems to have like a crazy thing that they're passionate about.
Yeah, I love that.
And I love that fact that like,
something.
I work like as an accountant like 60 hours a week, but I love like riding pimped cars on the weekend, right?
Every time you go to a bar and you talk to salaryman, which is how I've learned all of my Japanese, they always have something they're fascinated with or something they're really into, and it's always so fun getting to talk to them about it. Because I think Japan is a nation of hobbyists and otakus.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they always have something that they will dedicate an absorbent amount of time to. And it's, as somebody who I felt like at one point in my life, I was very closed off to anything I didn't understand. I've now become to really appreciate being able to talk to people about their hobbies, and when they have such an intricate knowledge of their hobbies, and asking them to share it with me. Because I'm like, fuck, I love hearing about like the guy explained to me like why Gunpla is so fucking complicated and tell me the difference between excellent grade and master grade and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you want another drink, by the way? But I'm like, yeah, let's keep talking about this because it's so cool. And people are so open if you are just a bit inquisitive.
Yeah.
Japan can be an extremely lonely place, but it can be a really rewarding place if you really push yourself to interact.
It really, I mean, the famous phrase is like that it's a country of paradoxes, and I feel like that's really true.
Absolutely.
And in many ways, but what you're talking about, Japan is so like Japanese people can be some of the most judgmental,
100%,
but also 100%. In a really weird way when it comes to like passions, they are also fairly unjudging. Like you can be a lot more open here about passions than it's very weird. I don't even know how to explain it.
Like what company you work at, they don't give a fuck what you do on the weekend. But I think that's kind of the social contract. Is like you work incredibly hard for whoever you work for. And the agreement is that they won't fucking judge you for what you do outside of work.
Or it's almost like even in the context of like maybe a sports activity or like some hobby, right? Yeah. As long as you do your best for the group you're in right now, whatever you do otherwise is like kind of like no one's business.
Yeah, right? It's not about like what you did before you showed up.
Do you get this from your parents too? Because I get this a lot that people ask my parents where like what about their kids, and they're like, oh, they're in Japan, and then they're like, oh, so you guys must have been really bad parents then.
I don't think my parents had that. Maybe they have had that. They might not have told me, but no, that's funny.
They went like halfway. Your kids went halfway across the.
I was very fortunate. My parents are really fucking good parents. They're really
sweet. Same.
I feel very lucky.
Shout out to my parents too.
Shout out to my dad. He's I'm sorry, mom.
But I know my mom always is like, well, I think people just generally assume that
humor. You must have been a bad parent then to Manu.
Like your kids must like have escape, like really wanted to escape to go like halfway across the world.
I always wanted to leave my house. I had a deep-seated desire to leave from like 14. Like I just wanted to be gone.
Really interesting.
I just wanted to be away from them. Not because I didn't like them, but I just wanted to
do stuff.
I think in my head I had some kind of weird desire to prove I could do it on my own.
I was in a very I'm like very happy to share this because I have told this story to many people. And I know a very like many people resonate with this. Before I actually went to Japan the first time during the internship, I was studying business engineering, so it was like both engineering and business, right? Like coding and just business stuff. Just because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I was just like, I graduated high school and I was just kind of like going into college for the sake of it because I didn't really know. I was like, okay, I might as well go to uni and do something. Maybe it'll be helpful. I was like super unpassionate about it. Like now it's kind of fun, like actually like now that I'm more excited about like learning about business and whatnot, it's a lot more fun and like seeing that it pays off. But back then, kind of like the same with school, I was like very unpassionate about it. And I remember very vividly, I was like sitting in this shisha bar that I used to go to like once or twice a week with friends.
Yeah.
And they would just like play like Champions League, like football, right? And just what
Shisha and Champions League, let's fucking go.
But I was like sitting, it was like kind of like a dumb movie scene. I was like sitting at the window. It was like raining outside at night, like neon light, like reflecting on the streets. And I was like, I'm fucking miserable. Like I'm like, I think I was like 19 or 20. I was like, I'm like in the same city. I don't know what the fuck I want to do. Like I don't vibe at all with my studies. And then, as dumb as it sounds, like doing this like half-year internship in Japan, like broke open my world so hard.
Sometimes you just need that kind of shake up.
Yeah.
I think I was definitely depressed when I was like 18, 19. I just didn't know. And I also just didn't have the tools to know how to accurately surmise that.
Yeah.
But it was,
I also have friends. I'm not sure. I'm sure you have the same experience, like friends from home. where you're like, please just, even if it's just for even if it's just a 3 months like internship or something,
just do it, man.
Go like live abroad once in your. It's like it's scary, yes, but do it, right? Like
my one regret is that I didn't study abroad for university because I didn't even know it was an option. If I knew it was an option, I would have done it.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I would have fucking loved it.
I mean, I did Norway, which isn't exactly like.
Yeah, but that's still like, I mean, being in a foreign country, man, that's fucking awesome. That would be fucking sick to do. I would love to, but I didn't know. None of the teachers told me I could even do that. They never said that was an option. I didn't know.
I think the best thing you can do when you're in your early 20s or late teens is live somewhere for a couple of months at least.
Challenge yourself.
When there's other people from all like the cool thing about studying abroad is that you're gonna be even if you live in England and you go to fucking Scotland to study abroad, you're gonna be with other people who are going to come from all over the world to study abroad, and you're just going to talk to like people who have like such different backgrounds and passions.
That's
and
the
whatnot.
benefit, right? That and traveling, you really expand your worldview.
Yeah.
And really come to appreciate things a lot more. And how
I'm of the belief that if everyone was forced to like just go travel for like half a year, like somewhere far away, like there would be a lot less like tension in a lot of countries, maybe.
Yeah. What was it? I think I read a quote that was something like, culture shock is just another way of describing the pain of widening your worldview.
Yeah, that's a nice
which I
quote.
thought was a really interesting way of putting it. It's like, when you talk about culture shock, you're like, I guess I just didn't fucking appreciate that people would do things differently. And it's like, how can you fucking understand someone else if you can't even basically like understand how they might live their life? It's really interesting.
I mean, even being in Japan, like the amount of moments where I suddenly realized that, this is like something I've been struggling with actually turns out to just be a cultural difference that I didn't realize was there. Is like, there's a crazy good book, by the way, recommendation. It's called The Culture Map.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it kind of talks about how different countries, like on the spectrum of different things, are on very different ends of the scale. So for example, when you go to communication, direct versus indirect, like Japan is like one of the most indirect countries when it comes to like everything you're saying it very indirectly, like you kind of have to read the air, as they would say in Japan. Kukiyoyama.
Yeah.
While for example the US is on the exact opposite end, the most direct type of and like the Europe is like more on the direct side, but then even though maybe like, Germany and France or like England, we would maybe be, or Wales would be like similar in relation to each other, one would seem a lot more direct than the other, right? But then, for example, when it comes to feedback, Americans, even though Americans are like super direct communicators, they give surprisingly indirect feedback, something I never realized until I read that book, which makes a lot of sense because in Germany, we like love being super direct. We want to like, if you ask me what I thought, I'm going to be like, hey, this sucked. While in America, it's very common to like start with something positive, and then you kind of like, and maybe we can work on this, and that's the actual feedback. So that was like super eye opening to me. So great book.
This is shit.
Legitimately,
But you still have the Deutschbahn belly running,
and you can imagine how this was with like like Japanese friendships or relationships. Where maybe I would like be very direct and like, hey, I think, maybe next time let's do this or something, and they'd feel like attacked. And the other way around, I would not get feedback sometimes because it was, and
then you wouldn't know how to, improve, and it'd be so easy to improve.
Exactly. And I think it's very easy to attribute to like, that person's just so stuck up, but no, it might just be like a general cultural thing. True. I think like for you especially, it's very interesting because I know that you're hopping continents very frequently.
I am. I am doing that a lot, mostly to America though.
I'm kind of, because it's been kind of interesting for me. Like as a kid growing up, for me, flying was like the best thing ever.
Yeah,
like, I loved being in an airplane.
Yeah, I like flying.
Now though, I gotta say, now that I fly more frequently, also like obviously going back home. Like this year, I actually went back and forth between Europe and Japan 4 times. It's grown a little bit, like it's kind of lost a little bit of its awesome.
I mean, it's purely a get from A to B for me. But I'm also a bougie fuck. I always fly business, so it's also a lot easier to enjoy.
I guess so.
When you get to have a bed, like it's easily more enjoyable.
For me, surprisingly, I do have a tendency to get sick, and I'm not sure if you relate to this pattern. Like, I cram a lot of stuff into my schedule before I leave Japan.
Yeah.
And then, like, I go back, like, I go somewhere, like, whether it's America or Europe, right? To be fair, I have not gone back to America recently because I don't want to get deported.
Well, it was a concern.
But, like even whenever I go somewhere, and then like obviously you want to meet up with friends, you want to meet with family maybe, right? And then you have like you still need to do some work, maybe here or there, like stream or film a video. I have like a really strong tendency to like either be very exhausted when I come back, or just be sick either when after
you get back from the travel.
Or sometimes also just arrive like this. I just came back like 3 weeks ago.
I normally
get
sick after travel.
I was like, this time I was sick during travel actually.
Because I normally don't schedule a lot afterwards. And then I think my body finally gets to go like, and then it just fucking dies.
Yeah. So you have that too.
Yeah, I think I'll just overwork myself.
I think it's also very easy to underestimate the stress on your body from like switching time zones.
Dude, it's pretty brutal. I mean,
right?
I just came back from like Portugal, and that was rough, getting used to that time zone. And I immediately went into a 3-day Final Fantasy Tactics marathon. Which, speaking of politics, great political game. If you like politics, Final Fantasy, great politics.
Which Final Fantasy was it?
Tactics.
Oh, Tactics. Okay.
Yeah, really amazing game. Highly recommend it. Play Tactics. It's amazing.
Would you say that it's more conservative or?
Well, the neoliberal wokeism in the game was something that I really hadn't come across before. I'm more of an anarchist, economist, capitalist.
Me, myself.
Yeah, so I really struggle to identify. No, it was a really good game. I highly recommend it. It was really fun.
But you did it right after coming back?
Yeah, right after coming back. I haven't gotten sick though. But I just lie to myself. If I'm like kind of getting sick, I'll be like, not sick yet. Not sick. I'm not sick until I'm really sick. Until I can't get out of bed, I'm not sick. And I'll just power through and just get on with my day.
I think for me, I like the first day coming, like flying into Japan, for example, because I think going the other way, like whenever you're traveling, which would be, I guess, west. Whenever you're traveling west, it's kind of more chill because you're kind of going with the flow. So you arrive there and you just like, you're already tired, but you just like stay up a little bit longer. I think coming back, like traveling east, it's a lot harder because your body, like, you're supposed to go to bed, but you're still awake, but you're kind of exhausted from work.
I think it's also tough because normally when you're traveling to a place, you often are doing something, which makes it a lot easier to kind of adjust because you're like, oh, maybe you're meeting up with friends, or maybe you're doing a convention. Okay, but the convention's going on till 4, and then there's parties afterwards. So if you're working, it's like, I got to work till this time, and then I got to eat. So you kind of, it's a lot easier to adjust when you're going to a place. But also, I think the most important thing that I've learned is just eating and drinking at the right times in the time zone. Yeah, so like if I land at 2 p.m. and I'm not hungry, it's like, fuck it, I'll just eat like something quick for lunch. And then I will force myself to have a dinner at 6 or 7. Because I'm like, if I don't do this, my body has no thing to go off of like what kind of cycle we're on. Yeah. And if I eat at like 1 a.m., I'm fucked. I'm not going to bed. So like you just gotta, that's the only advice I can give. Other than shilling out for business class, which not everyone can do. That's the only other fucking life hack.
Life hack, take first class.
Spend fuck tons of money on flights. I mean, the only good thing,
lying down is very nice, though.
Even if you don't sleep, the fact that you can have your own space and lie down is like so much more relaxing. And that's
business class. That's so dumb expensive though.
It's oh my god, it's easily the thing I spend the most money on. Like I live my life like Uber Eats and flights are what is cost. Oh my god,
I'm surprised at this point you don't have like a Uber Eats like.
Bro, I must be rank one.
Like rainbow. You get like the rainbow, the guy in the rainbow car driving. Yeah.
I need some kind of.
When your package comes, it just has this like rainbow shill effect.
Thank God the Uber Eats hasn't recognized. They haven't got some crazy AI that like knows I'm a streamer.
Dumb. Yeah.
Because they could rinse me for money, bro. I would pay more. But like the thing is that like. I that's the one thing where I'm like, fuck it, I'll spend however much I need to on this fucking business class flight because sometimes I'm arriving and I need to.
Well, you're going to work too, right?
Yeah, I might only be there for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And obviously when you're self-employed and you have a business, it's different because you're claiming it on your taxes as opposed to doing it on the travel where you're just doing it for fun and you can't do that. So it's very different, but. It's the reason why these executives, they'll fly their dude out business because when he can arrive, he can fucking work.
Yeah, he can.
I can actually work when I fly. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm a bougie boy and I do it because I like it.
Do you have like a thing where you're like back in Tokyo and you're like, I'm back home? Do you have like anything specific?
Fuck. Dude, when I get gyoza. I love gyoza, bro. I love going for gyoza and I'll go to get gyoza and it feels like, I'm back because it'll be like 2,000 yen for 30 gyoza, and I'm like, God, we're so back, and it's so good.
I have like a romanticized thing, which is for me like seeing Fuji flying in. But then I also just have like going to 7-Eleven and getting like a coffee.
I mean, bro, just getting like, I just like my bags show up at the carousel. Like, I feel like in other
Do
countries.
you travel that heavy? I usually try traveling with like just hand
I try
luggage.
to do only carry on, but sometimes you just can't, it's unavoidable. And like every time I go to LAX or every time I go to Europe, it's a fucking dice roll if your bag's showing up. I feel like in Japan, I know that shit's gonna get there. I know it's arriving. And I know that I'll get through the airport in a reasonable amount of time.
Have you ever played the Ohtani Shohei game?
Dude, I wouldn't dare. You'd die if you tried to. Oh, you the drink every time you see Ohtani?
Oh no, then you die.
die.
No, the game is like how many seconds until you leave the airplane until you
Dude, it's like instant. Ohtani, talk about dictatorship. Ohtani is the dictator of Japan. If
on all the big posters,
says goes. Dude. He runs this country, and he said he doesn't even live here.
This time was like the craziest one because I literally left out of the ramp from the airplane, and there was just this big like curtain hanging over us. Like,
it's ridiculous.
Just him with like the
but
green,
good for him,
the
bro.
green
I mean,
tea. Yeah,
he's
a legend.
I mean, a lot of people in Japan, when you talk to them, they see the Dodgers as a Japanese team. They're like, it's not LA.
There's like a new guy there too. Do you fuck with baseball?
I mean, I've tried to learn it more because it's such a fun sport.
I'm like so bored by it.
I tried. It's so fun.
I really tried to like it.
I love it in Japan as well. I went to watch a couple of games of Pete, and I fucking loved it.
I feel like aren't there kind of a little bit like dictator like with it when you like if you're in the wrong block with the wrong shirt on, they'll go you have to leave now.
Yeah, I had me and Pete accidentally had the
wrong hat or
something.
Swallows
shirts in the away section in Tokyo, and
they come like please take off your jacket like
so we had to hide it because we were like, oh god, but
they're like very strict about it.
But you know, I think baseball is the great social sport because it allows you to fucking talk with your friend.
I guess so.
Whereas like basketball's pretty intense, and although when I watch that too, often people don't fucking show up until, even though they buy tickets, they don't show up until halfway, which is fucking crazy to me as well as a European sports goer. Baseball is great because I like it a lot because I can.
It's more of an outing, right? Yeah.
We can go out and we can drink a fuck ton.
Yeah.
We can watch a game.
I get it.
We can be like, oh shit, something just happened. Let's fucking lock in.
I get it as like a social thing, but I feel like I would never. I mean, to be fair, this might just be me being conditioned as a German to grow up with football, right?
Trust me, UK as well. We are kind of taught that baseball is a silly American thing that you should never even pray credence.
Not even that. I feel like it just was like it's not on your radar at all.
No, of course not.
Yeah,
it's like American football. It's like you don't think about it. But ultimately, I think
you use your foot sometimes.
Yes,
there's a bit of kicking.
Getting into
sometimes.
baseball, I really enjoyed it, and like actually, it's been a lot of fun. I think. To be fair, any sport that you get into is often really fun.
I think what is really fun in Japan, what I should bring you some next time because in January usually they have like the I'm not sure. Did you watch football when you were growing up? I feel like you were like at least a little bit of a not at all.
My dad was a massive football fan. I tried.
But what has been really fun, what I did the first time this year was actually go watch the all Japanese high school like playoffs for like football, soccer.
Oh fuck yeah!
So fun. Insane. And they were like scouting people off. Like they were like all the European teams have like their people there.
Really big baseball one. That's the big one, right?
Right. Yeah, they have it for all the sports, right? But
yeah, the baseball one's huge. It's like televised.
Such a fun event, yeah.
I mean, I love how seriously Japan takes extracurricular activities.
Yeah. I was like, do you have like club activities in the UK?
Yeah. Mainly sports,
okay,
but that's about it.
That's kind of nice though, because I feel like I would have fucked really hard with like going. Like I played a lot of soccer or like football, like when I was growing up, and like but after school, like just with friends. I think if you really wanted to do it like professionally, you would actually have to join a youth team of a club.
Yeah.
But like otherwise, you just like at one or two, you just go home after school and then.
Everywhere in the UK has a rugby team, a football team, a cricket team. I mean,
I don't envy the amount of studying that Japanese kids have to do because they get home by like 10 and then they pass out.
They're so happy until they're like 12 and then they join high school and then they're miserable.
But I do think
so many exams.
Yeah, but I do think the club activity thing per se is really cool. I like that system a lot. Maybe I'm just romanticizing it based on anime. I don't know. But even if you ask people nowadays, all their friends are all from a high school from like clubs usually, right?
Pete, who's an amazing Premier 2, who is a phenomenal socializer. His go-to question whenever we go drinking is, nani no bukatsu. Like, what was the school what was the high school club that you went to? Yeah. Because everyone had to do it, and everyone often is quite passionate
about it,
or at least has some fun story about it. And it's a good talking point, and it's it shows that you understand Japanese culture to understand the weight of this, but also it's just a fun thing to kind of maybe humanize us all. You know, we all had a club or we all did something in high school, and let's talk about that.
I think it's really fun. I think again, the fact that many of their closest friends are still based on what they did. I mean, it's kind of the fact.
Yeah.
You know how in anime, bringing this back a little bit to the anime theme, like often I think people wonder why is there so much school anime and why is it always teenagers and stuff. But it's like there's a big thing where Japanese people really have this nostalgia for their school days, because even though, yes, they needed to study a lot during high school and stuff, but it was like the last time in their life for many people where they felt like they still had, you know, so many like dreams and options in their life before them being hopes and dreams.
Before the weekend crushes all of those hopes and dreams.
But that is like a big reason why, you know, like high school stuff is so popular in anime also as a trope.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to appreciate until you actually kind of talk with a lot of Japanese people and kind of see where their mind's at. But, you know, I mean, ultimately, that's anime.
Do you still watch like anime?
Yeah. I try to kind of watch mostly the notable ones of each season.
Right.
Or anything that is kind of interesting.
Do you watch it like for yourself, or do you watch it with like, okay, this might be interesting to talk about?
Myself,
is that because from like
I want to, you know, I think after you watch a lot of anime and kind of says nothing and doesn't just
it needs something more special as a connoisseur of
doesn't try to do anything, you know. And it's not that I feel like how dare it, because at one point when I was 15, 16, I loved that. There was so many anime I could watch. But now that you're getting older,
I think you want a little bit more out of it.
I want anime that kind of pushes me or tries to make me see something differently or really entertains me in a certain way. Like watching Jujutsu Kaisen, it's like, bro, I don't feel anything, but I just love fucking watching that art. Watching the animation, it's beautiful art. Like it's pushing that medium forward, and I really enjoy that. But
was there anything recently that like stood out to you, like from a story wise or anything?
I mean, I watched Mushoku Tensei season 2, and that was really good. I really enjoyed that series.
I actually dropped that halfway.
Yeah.
Like I got because they split the season right into where he gets to the magic school.
The magic school,
and that one lost
rough.
me really hard.
It was rough.
I did not pick it up afterwards.
Yeah, I heard that arc was really boring.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm sure they probably did something interesting there, so I'll just give it a watch. And I watched it all in like one sitting on like a plane, and I really enjoyed it.
It was good. Okay.
I think it would have been a rough watch week by week. And it's a shame, right? Because you never know if it's a week by week.
I didn't even watch it week by week, but I think there was this break in the like he reunites with the elf. Yeah.
But I love Mushoku Tensei because it's such a polarizing piece of media. And you see it all the time online. People are like, this shit is disgusting. This shit is whatever. And I'm like, man, some art, like, I think you just have to be able to consume it, or sorry, not consume is a dirty word. I think you have to be able to analyze it and be able to watch it for yourself and understand perhaps why you feel repulsed by it, and to take the meaning from that and to be able to apply it to your real life experiences and what that means. And like, I think you are, you know, at least when I was watching it, I was obviously you're kind of repulsed by Rudius as a character, but I think that's the point.
You're meant to be.
You are meant to be, and if you are unable to then get past that fact as a viewer and to understand you are meant to be repulsed.
Because he kind of, I mean, to be fair, I felt like the first few episodes were really rough too.
Dude, it's a fucking rough watch. But
it is the point, because you kind of see how he almost lets go of his old. I don't know. I mean, again, I think it is as you say, the point kind of is that you feel shit for it.
We live in a current times and a society, that is really, really against redemption and is against growing.
Very unforgiving. That's true.
Yeah, like if you fuck up one time, and this is why, kind of circling back full circle with the politics things, is that a lot of creators don't want to talk about it. Is because a lot of creators have learned that the online doesn't forget. They don't forget if you fuck up one time. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. If you fuck up one time, you are not allowed to be redeemed. That is not saying that I agree with Rudius as a character and what he does, not what I'm saying. But I do think that like watching a character change and learn is really fascinating.
That's just the fundamentals of good storytelling, is that you want to see someone actually change.
And it's like
it is different. Funnily enough, like to interrupt you quickly, but like bringing One Piece in, like Luffy's an interesting character.
I'd love to know how this comes into like One Piece as well.
Yeah, I think Luffy's an interesting exception to the rule, because even though he's the main character, Luffy, like, we see, I think what the reason why Luffy works, because he technically, the only thing that Luffy changes a little bit is that he learns sometimes he can't be, like, sometimes he needs to be a little bit more serious or people are going to die. But that's kind of the extent of it, because usually what happens is that Luffy comes and changes people's lives and frees people, and like people are in dark places and don't, like Usopp leaves the crew and whatnot. And so he's almost, but that kind of makes him almost less human and more in this, like, he's this ideal.
That's how I always saw Luffy, was that he was this, like, unflinching monolith of a character that was there to change the other characters who always felt more human to me in the story.
Yeah, he's very idealized. Same for Zoro, you could say, because he doesn't change a lot too. He's also more just like get stronger, protect everyone. Which makes him a very cool character. But like that makes Sanji, I think, for example, a lot more interesting because he's more flawed in a lot of ways.
I really always loved Usopp as a character.
Oh, Usopp's the best character.
I felt like Usopp was such a human,
relatable,
human character in the fact that everyone can relate to also being around people who seem to have it all fucking figured out.
Yeah.
And you're just like, how the fuck do I fit into this? And watching Usopp grow was one of the most rewarding parts of One Piece. And I still think one of my favorite moments was when he was so fucking depressed that the insults
didn't work on him.
It's
like, I'm already depressed.
Which is just growing up in the UK. Like, it's like the whole British Isles could have easily have dominated that arc as well. And that was a highlight in what felt like a very weak arc. Sorry to give my opinion there.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I think going back to Mushoku Tensei is that, and I wonder if this, because I haven't got long enough for One Piece to see it, but I wonder, is there ever a point in One Piece where like redemption and a character learning?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Sanji's a great example because Sanji gets the most hate out of all the Straw Hats usually for his like perviness. But I think the perviness is part of his big character flaw. Like, because for him, it's like, it's not that he sees, like, he doesn't objectify women necessarily the way that some other, like the Boku no Hero guy like Mineta or something, right? It's more like he puts
fucking Meliodas just fucking groping women.
He puts fucking hell. He puts them on such a high pedestal that he like idealizes them to such a like crazy degree that it's like it actually hurts himself and the people around him.
He ends up looking.
I mean, I don't want to spoil, but there is like actually Sanji out of all the Straw Hats gets the best arc like after the war. It's like super good.
I do, and I promise I will keep.
And it's the reason because he has like these strong ideals, and you learn more about his like upbringing and everything. Was like super fucked up, by the way.
But it's like at the same time,
it's the most interesting characters. Have you seen Andor? Because I was like fucking obsessed with it.
No, I haven't. I heard it's amazing though.
It's so good. It's exactly good because the reason people love this show is because the main character, the first thing he does in the first episode is he gets stopped by two like corrupt like imperial policemen. Basically, they're not stormtroopers, but they like stop him and they kind of want to like get some money out of him, and he just shoots them. And he's kind of like, he's like a bad guy kind of, but he grows into this role of becoming a rebel, like a kind of against his will, and then he becomes like a good guy kind of almost against his will, but there is this good part of him that, you know, agrees with it. And it makes it, because it's so realistic and watching this person grow. Like, I'm not sure if you like, there was like the Rogue One movie where he was part of it. And that's actually like sort of there's season 1, season 2, and then immediately after like season 2 ends and season like the Rogue One movie starts. And in Rogue One, he's already this like perfect, great guy, selfless, and seeing how he grows, it's like so satisfying, and it would never be sad. Like if he was that right from the beginning, just as like everything's great and I love, like the fact that he is this super flawed human being who grows into this role and like finds something that's bigger than himself is what's satisfying to watch. So I totally agree. I feel like that's
why I enjoyed Mushoku Tensei. I really enjoyed this question of like, what would be an irredeemable character, can he be redeemed?
And I
like,
feel
in the viewer's eyes. And I think a lot of the times people are so willing to either not, like for a character like Rudius, to not allow him to be redeemable, which I think is understandable if you feel that way. But I think it is a core belief of at least our current society is that, like, you know, you are supposed to believe that people can be redeemed and that people can improve and get better and that they can change their ways. And I think it's really important. And I want to get further in One Piece because I want to see some of this as well. And I know that's going to be in there.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a lot.
And that's my biggest gripe of that I haven't continued reading, is that I want to get to that point, because I do think it is I think if you don't allow people to redeem themselves or grow or change, then I think you view the world wrong. Because I think everyone fucks up.
Exactly.
Everyone makes mistakes.
I feel like,
and you need to be able to do that. And I think Rudius kind of puts a mirror up on a lot of the parts of society that make us really uncomfortable. And Rudius kind of, as a character, forces you to have to be like, okay, if I genuinely believe that people are redeemable, I need to also believe that, like, I need to accept that I'm capable of mistakes and that I can change. And so I think Rudius kind of, in an uncomfortable way, forces a lot of viewers to kind of have to recognize that they are not as forgiving as perhaps they like to think they are with people. And I think, not that I think that Rudius' actions should be forgiven or anything like that, but I think that allowing him the space to change and go through that process is very important.
What actually, because it's been a while since I watched Mushoku, isn't the main thing that he's just like a perv, basically?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like he's literally starts off and he's like he's like into other very young people, which is extremely concerning.
Oh yeah.
And he hasn't,
because he's a grown man.
Yeah, he's a fucking grown man, like, and he should know better. And I think the entire like growth of his character is that he learns that, like, hey, this shit's kind of fucking gross, and
it's the way I remember it, it was also like he kind of. Like at the beginning, he's still very much, I'm like this guy who got.
Oh, he's an incel.
Yeah, but I'm still this person who got reincarnated. While like at a certain point in the story, he kind of forgets.
Yeah.
He has these points where he almost forgets that he's been like reborn, right? And he actually lives this new life and almost feels ashamed whenever he goes back to.
And it's a shame because sometimes the series, I think, really fumbles some plot points, and
I think that's fair enough.
You're like, God damn it! It was doing so good with so many things.
I feel like personally. Again, like going with season 2, I feel like season 1, this entire like where they get like teleported everywhere and then like they have to travel back, that was such a great sequence.
Yeah.
It felt really blunt almost going into that entire magic teenage arc.
I mean, it is, and I mean, the whole arc was really odd, but I still really enjoyed what it was trying to do. Okay. Yeah, I think it gets better, and it also, man, it poses some really tough questions morally. That I think as a viewer, you're really kind of pushed to your limit of what you're comfortable with and with what Rudius is doing and how he views the world. And also just a very mature look on grief and dealing with grief and what that means. Because I think a lot of people who are very active online are quite young, and there's a lot of things in their life that they haven't had to deal with yet, or they haven't had to kind of face. And like grief and how you deal with it, and losing people, and what is the
shame
appropriate way. Shame, maybe making a mistake, because when you're young, maybe you haven't made a big mistake yet. That doesn't matter. But when you get older, you'll probably do some things that you really come to regret, and that's being human. It's normal. We all do these things, and being able to learn to forgive yourself and to move on from that, and to know that you're making changes is really important. And I think it's a really uncomfortable series in the sense that it kind of pokes you in those wounds and kind of twists a little bit.
It's like you have something like that too a little bit.
By showing Rudius, who is kind of a piece, he is a piece of shit, and he's a horrible person at the start of the show. Yeah. And he kind of drags you along that journey with him in a really interesting way. And I'm sorry for bringing it up so much. And that's why I want to finish One Piece.
I will say
I want to go through those journeys of those characters and see those parallels in the real world.
I'm very curious. I mean, we usually Gaunt, I guess, is the isekai expert, right? But I do feel this is very easily how you can usually distinguish good versus bad isekai stuff. It's just,
bro, isekai doesn't make me think normally.
The worst ones you have is where the character just gets reborn and he doesn't change at all, and he's kind of like he's strong, has the harem, and he gets like super strong.
He bangs a new girl every day.
The ones that tend to do better are like, I mean, even I personally think ReZero kind of fell off for me also a little bit, but the reason it was so good at the beginning was because you have this character.
He's a piece of shit.
He's a piece of, he doesn't do anything, and he kind of actually he doesn't get anything gifted to him, right? He kind of has this experience.
Really kind of work and change his mindset. And I still think one of the most beautiful scenes is when in ReZero, when he gets to he goes back in time to talk to his dad. I think scenes, and it was a really touching scene where he kind of had that moment that often a lot of us don't, where he's like, hey, I fucking fucked up, and I've learned a lot from where I was at, and I'm sorry, Dad, or I'm sorry, parent. I think that was very touching. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember it was very touching. The emotion's still there, even if the entire scene isn't. And I just thought it was really touching. And ReZero has done some as good moments, as many bad moments as well. But I think every fucking show has some weak moments. You have to.
Of course. And I feel like, again, as you say, if you kind of need flaws and you need like a journey and growth. Otherwise, it's like not. And this goes for real life as well, right?
You have to be able to forgive people in the real world and allow them to learn and improve. And if you don't,
as you say,
I think as well with like to ultimately wrap it all up.
Yeah, I was about to say
politics, man. Like if you the left or right, this tribalism that goes on. It's like if you can't. We want to forgive someone or be able to allow them to grow and maybe educate themselves more. Then we want to
all live together, right? Have a good life. I think in the end, I think we no one wants to experience a war or anything.
And also don't punish people for learning more and trying to educate themselves more.
Encourage them to like I think
try and better themselves.
Yeah, I think we all know that if someone like screams their opinion at us like that, we're just all gonna be like fucking. Well, now I'm gonna stand by my point even harder. So
man, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's really great to be able to talk about like this mature stuff that I don't normally get a chance to talk about. Like this is very rare that I get to do this. So,
that was really fun.
I really appreciate you allowing me the space to do it, man.
No, it wasn't.
And I hope people appreciated it. And if you don't, I'm sorry. It is what it is, I've done the best I can.
I think hopefully that was like a good chunk of people out there who had like a good time.
I hope so.
And even if you disagreed with some stuff, I think
I'm sure they did, and hopefully we can have a civilized comment section. Hopefully, we pray there's a civilized comment discussion.
Maybe everyone needs to drink a glass of sake before they're allowed to comment.
The world becomes a lot better when you've had a couple of glasses of sake.
All right. Otherwise, I mean, I don't think I need to introduce your stuff, but your channel and your Twitch are obviously going to be in the description nonetheless.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Boost a small creator.
Appreciate it.
Help out us.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching.
Bye, guys. Bye.